Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. I don't think my speaker doesn't seem to be working. Oh, okay.
Hope you all are doing well. We'll be getting started in just a moment. Let a couple more people get in. I would say today I ask that if you don't already have it, go get a pen and a paper or a pad because we're going to cover an extensive amount of information today, and I don't want you to miss out on anything. I mean, you can always go back and watch the video, but it's important to write down some of your thoughts and some of the questions that you may have. I'm here to answer those questions to the best of my ability.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, Akoti Bev. I was just
Hello.
going to get a pencil or a pen and a pad, some writing materials, because today is going to, I would say, I don't know if, yeah, it would be more of an intensive kind of class today, and I don't want you to miss anything. And so I want you to be able to write down any questions that you may have in regards to what we're going over today. Today is going to talk more about chapters number 4, 5, and 6, and probably a little bit of 7. I don't know um, if we'll be able to get into 7 of Deuteronomy, just part of it, just the part that we're supposed to read this week. So we're going to begin, teaching here in just a moment. And I want to be able to give us some proper context about what was written and how it was written and why it was written and to whom it was written. And so we can get a better understanding of the Torah. The Torah is not going to work for us if we don't understand, the audience, and if we don't understand the timelines. And so we have to take our time and we have to be able to ask the right questions so we can get clarity, because that's exactly what Moshe wanted to do with the children of Israel. His intention was to bring clarity. And so, I want us to get that clarity because he's instructing us and he's telling us what it's going to be. And so, it behooves us to look at it in that manner. So get some writing materials, and not just so you can write everything down, but just the things that are important to you, the things that you really want your answer about. I'm going to ask you today to participate in the class. I might be asking some questions. There's not a right or a wrong answer. You may ask a question, or I might ask a question just to see where you're at with it, and other people can be listening and learning from that. So there's never a wrong question, and there's not ever too many questions that can be asked. Okay. Um, I will spend some time on each question, but not that much, depending on what it is. If it's something deep and I might have time to explain it thoroughly, then I'll go over it. But if I don't, we'll just move on and we'll put that on the sidebar. And then after we're finished with our class today, we could try to address those questions, if we have the time. Okay. So without further delay, it is 10:03 on my time. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all. And I want you to take a look at it. Let me get myself off of here right quick. All right. Again, welcome. Shabbat Shalom to you. Um, I'm going to do my best not to move too fast today, but we have a lot of information to cover. Okay. Um, and again, my purpose here is to help us understand what the Torah is saying. Okay. Your Torah portion is called Va'et Kanan. Okay. Generally, the Torah portions are written or designed or named after literally the first word or a word within the first line of that in particular division of the Torah. What I do see right quick is that what we learned last week about how he went in and he was taking over the kingdoms and how the Most High wanted Joshua to be in charge and so forth. Now we're going to see uh, that there's a continuation of that in particular understanding, and it's notified or understood by this in particular symbol right here that tells us in the Torah that symbol is saying that this is just one piece of the puzzle. Okay, so this is a continuation of what we learned from last week. Okay, so to bring it into perspective, what it's talking about is when it says they et, that's broken up into these different letters right here, and it's this right here. Okay, so the ve is this, and then the et is this, and then the kanan is these three letters right here. So it's popped up a couple is from Yehuda. Yehuda. So um, you say, well, why is this important? Because we need to understand what it is that he's doing. Okay. This is when Moshe's talking, everyone, he's saying now that I pleaded with Yahweh at that time. See, so it lets you know that what time? What are you talking about? He's saying I pleaded with Yahweh at that time. Okay, that plead right there is to say that he wanted to continue. That's Canaan right there in Hebrew. He wanted to continue. The letters represent camping or a continuation, and he wanted to see exactly what the Most High was going to do. Okay, so chapter number 3, it begins in verse number 23, and it opens up with him pleading to the Most High. When we look at the Torah, is telling us, especially in these next few chapters, is going to be breaking down, um, the covenant that the Most High is making with the children of Israel. And so what Moshe is doing, everyone, is he's going to be expressing his thoughts about their experiences and how the Most High has done this and he's done that and he's done all these things. But I'm going to let him tell the story. Okay. So here he's pleading with the Most High, and what he's asking the Most High to do is to say, "Hey, look, I've Master Yahweh, you have begun to show me, the first works of your greatness and your mighty hand," meaning the things that he did for them, like, destroying the kings, bringing them into the wilderness, feeding them, delivering them out of the hand of Egypt, and so forth and so on. He says, whose powerful deeds no God in heaven or earth can equal. Okay. So there's no one can do what the Most High has done. Okay. So when you're reading this, we can't just read it as just a regular story. It is our history and it's something that's being spoken to us, but he's giving us context clues about who the Most High is. Now, when he says that there's powerful deeds that no God in heaven or on earth can equal, you're going to hear this continually like there's no one else. Okay. So he's letting the children of Israel, now remember, his job is to make things simple and to make it easy for the children of Israel to understand. And so one of the things that he wants them to understand that there is no God in heaven and earth that can equal the Most High. And if you read in your Haftarah this week, a question was asked, who can you compare to me? So the whole idea of chapters number 3, 4, 5, 6, and even going into 7 is dealing with there is no one equal to the Creator. And this is something that he's expressing to them that he wants them to know. And of course, we can see that working in our on our favor today. So then he goes on to verse 25 and says, "Let me pray, let me, I pray, cross over and see the good land on the other side of the Jordan, the hill country of and the Lebanon." Okay, I'm reading a little fast, but I just want to get to chapter number 4 quickly. Okay, so this is about him wanting to go over. He's pleading to the Most High so he can cross over and go see the land. He wants to go to the land. Okay. And so he says in verse number 26, but Yahweh was angry. He was wrathful with me on your account and would not listen to me. And he said to me, enough. Okay. Never speak to me of this matter again. All right. Again, showing us that the Most High has not forgotten about Moshe's rebellion. Okay. And so Moshe is expressing this to the children of Israel that he wanted to go over to the land. And the Most High says, no, enough. Rav Lakab, which we have in our Hebrew right here, which is a phrase that was used by Korach and his guys who were like, hey, you've taken too much unto yourself. So the Most High again is saying, hey, enough. You've been talking to me about this. Don't ever speak to me again about this matter, which shows us that Yahweh, he doesn't forget. So one of the parts about who can he be compared to? There's no equal. But our Elohim doesn't forget. Okay. Our Elohim, just to help us understand who we're in a relationship with, does get angry. And he can get angry to sit on the account and he would not listen to me, right? So if the Most High is angry at Moses and he won't listen to him, right? Because he's already determined something, then you best to believe that there's things that you and I can say, or the children of Israel as a whole can be asking the Most High, and he's saying, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to listen to you. Just like right now, while we're in our exile, there's things that we want Yah to do that he's not doing because he's angry. And so there's certain things that he is just not going to listen to. That's it. He said, never speak to me again about this matter. His mind is made up. So it tells us that our creator, if he makes a decision, that no one can change his mind. Okay. That's something that we need to see here. So he goes on in verse number 27, he goes up, and I'm just going to kind of skim through this right quick. But he goes up to the place where the Most High told him to go, and he says, give Joshua his instructions and imbue him with strength and courage, for he shall go across at the head of this people, and he shall allot to them the land that you may see. Okay. So he's saying, hey, Joshua's the guy that I've already told you about. This is the one who's going to bring the children of Israel into the land. Okay. That's who's going into the land. So I want you to write down the land because that's what we're going to be talking about today. Okay. Meanwhile, he's saying, I stayed in the valley near Beth Peor. That's where we stayed at. And then, of course, what we see here is that's the end of that teaching. Okay. That's it. That's what this little symbol right here means, that it's over. The teaching is done. So everything Moses said in chapter number 3, verse number 23 down to 29 goes with everything prior to chapter 3, verse 23. Goes when he was talking about, what the Most High has been doing, how he's teaching the Torah and all this sort of thing. Okay. So this tells us that now in chapter number 4, it's completely different. Chapter number 4 is new. This is a new understanding. Everything that he's going to say right now has nothing to do with any of this up here. Zero. Absolutely nothing. And the reason why it doesn't have anything to do with chapter number 3 is simply because chapter number 4 is going to explain what the Most High's intention is. Okay. He was talking about how he felt about how he pleaded. Okay. So chapter number 4 has nothing to do with Moshe pleading. Absolutely nothing. It has nothing to do with Moshe wanting to go into the land. It has nothing to do with him singing. It has nothing to do with, Joshua and taking the place and being the person in charge. So if we don't know these divisions and where things end and begin, then you and I are going to get confused. And so this is what happens when you have people who are teaching the Torah who don't understand where the start point is and where the beginning is. Okay. The end or the beginning. Here we're at a beginning. Completely different. So don't put chapter number 3 with chapter number 4. That's the point. Okay. He begins chapter number 4 with saying, and now, subject is completely changed. Yisrael, I need you to give heed to the laws and the rules that I'm instructing you to observe so that you may live to enter and to occupy the land. Remember, I told you to make a note about the land because the Most High is telling him about the laws and the rulings and the instructions so that they can do them and they can go enter and take over and possess the land. So everything that they're doing is for the purpose of the land, okay? Which the Elohim of your fathers is giving to you. So this is where it's at. This is where the focus should be, okay? I want you to understand this. Remember, this is something new, okay? So he's saying this is what the Most High said I'm going to give you. So when he talks about his kukim, we went over that before. He's talking about the decrees. He's talking about the mishpatim, right? Which are the which you would say the judgments, because here's mishpat right here on your right hand side of the screen. It tells you that's the judgment. The Most High is talking about the judgment, the mishpat. Okay. So everything that I highlight right here, okay, is going to tell you exactly what it means. So here it's going to tell you that this is the coke, this is the statutes. So you'll know what a coke is, you'll know what a mishpatim is, a ruling. Okay. So decisions that the Most High has already made. He said that you may do them. Okay. La sot here is to do, right here. Asad, to do, to fashion, to accomplish. So when we're thinking about Yah's laws and we're thinking about his decrees and we're thinking about his rulings, they're only designed to be able to be performed and carried out and accomplished and done and made in the land. Okay. This is huge. Okay. So you there he's saying you can't enter and live and occupy in the land if you don't understand the judgments, okay, the ordinances. If you don't understand the kukim, okay, you're not going into the land. That's what it is. Okay. Now, the idea for them to go in it, he says, in order to do these things, it's only for the purpose of the land. Okay. The only way that you can inherit, okay, and seize and possess and take possession, if you look on the right hand side, it talks about inherit. The only way you can inherit this land and this possession that the Most High gave to the children of Israel is following the laws, the decrees, and the judgments, and what you would call the Torah. Okay. Now, we're going to verse number 2. I decided, well, you know what? Should I do a PowerPoint presentation? No, I can't do a PowerPoint presentation with this because this is vital. Okay. This is vital. You have the English here, you have the Hebrew on the right hand side, and I can show you exactly which these words mean. Okay. Which I'm going to do. I can show you. Let me see what's wrong with this right here. Let me see. Go back. Slowing down. What's going on? Hopefully I didn't lose it. I'm reloading the page. Can you all see the screen still? Yes?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Good. All right. So now we're on verse number 2 right here. Okay. We're in verse number 2. He tells us, you shall not add to anything of what I command you, or you should not take away anything from it, but keep the commandments of your Elohim, Yohe that I enjoin upon you. Okay. The idea of this is saying that, look, um, never are you going to uh, add upon what I'm saying, and never you're going to subtract from anything I'm saying. Okay. But the key here is he says, in order for you to keep the commandments, in order for us to keep the commandment, just when I'm getting started, look at that. Hold on, everyone. This was not my intent. Let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and get out of here and I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to go here and come back to chapter number 25 in a second. I'll reload. Maybe I pushed it too hard. All right. So, source of translation. Okay, here you go. All right. Back to verse number 2. All right. So, what it's telling us here, everyone, is that you and I have been told before, don't add to anything I'm saying, right? This is what Moshe is telling us. Don't add to anything. Okay. That right there is lotosi food. You shall never add or make any additions to this word. Okay. That anything is this ha davar. We talked about davar last week that talks about the word. This right here is upon. Okay. So don't put anything upon the word that I'm telling you today. No commentary, no bells, no whistles. Don't do any of that. Okay. He says that I'm commanding you right here at Kim. Right. So it's not when it says you here, it's not talking a singular. It's literally talking about a plural. Okay. So he's not talking just to the individual, he's talking to the community, right? And the reason why it says these two letters right here, everyone, is simply because you are, and this is very important. Okay. I know you don't understand Hebrew, but it's my job to tell you what they're saying to us. When it says etkim right here, this is really two words. It's the et right here, and then kim. The et is the arrow. Okay, that's what it means in Hebrew. And what it means is that I'm directing everything towards you. The arrow's to you as a people, as a nation. Okay. So this is who he's talking to. He's talking when he talks to Israel, he's talking to the nation. He says, look, this is all to you with great emphasis. Right. So when he's telling us this, okay, as a people, Israel is not to add to anything to upon the word that he has was given to them that day. Don't do it. Okay. The etkim is I'm pointing directly to you. Okay. So all the laws are directly pointed to us, because the kim is us right here, you plural. It's all of us. So you guys can't do this. Don't subtract from anything. Don't diminish and deplete anything from what I'm saying. Okay. Because you can't keep and guard the commandment if you do this. That's the part that they're not telling us in English. It says, but keep the commandments. But in Hebrew, it doesn't say, but keep. It says, always guarding. And then here's the et again. You're guarding what? I'm guarding the commandments, okay, of Yahweh. In order to guard, always in order to guard the commandments, you can't add to it and you can't subtract from anything away from, you can't take away from it. So if you don't follow this, then you have a problem. Okay. It's not going to work for you. Okay. It's something interesting about this because if we do add to it, then the Most High says that you don't fear him. And I'll show that to you in a few moments. Okay. Verse number 3, because we got to go through the whole entire package. So that's why I'm going a little fast. He said, you saw with your own eyes what Yahweh did with the which you and I know that this was a festival they were invited to in order to have intercourse with each other, and is really called a feast of rectums, right? And openings and holes. He says, Elohim Yahweh wiped out from among you every person who followed Baal Peor. Okay, so now he wants us to focus on who Yah wiped out. Okay, so you see that Yahweh, you don't supposed to add anything to what we've learned, and you're not supposed to subtract. Is saying that there's certain things that you and I can do and that we can't do. The idea here is he's mentioning by El Peor and talking about the people getting wiped out, because anyone, listen to me carefully, anyone who joins themselves to another God, because by all means Lord, okay? Anyone who joins themselves to another Lord or another God, they're going to be wiped out. Okay? They're going to be wiped out. So he's bringing that to our attention in verse number 3. Verse number 4, he says, while you who held fast to Yahweh are alive today. So the holding fast to Yahweh is this word right here, Hadavakim. Okay? So of the individuals, the holding fast was like glue. They attached themselves to the Creator. So either you're going to be wiped out because you detached yourselves, or you're going to be alive. Yah's going to keep you alive if you attach yourself to him. Okay? So write that note that if I stay attached to him, I'll stay alive. The moment that I turn to another Lord, I'm going to get wiped out. Okay? Because Yah doesn't change. And we know this. Verse number 5. See, I have imparted to you laws. Okay? So again, we're looking at this word etkim. I'm going to keep pointing it out to you. It's the aleph and the tav, and it's the word kim. Kim is this, okay? The C and the M. The et is the aleph, and the tav is called et, okay? The reason why it's called et is because these three dots on it give you an EH sound, okay? And when you pronounce that every time you see the aleph and the three dots, and then this is a T sound, et, okay? Like this, E-T, okay? So this et is a direct object of what it is that you're doing. So for example, when he gives a command right here, he's saying see, not like just, hey, see, he's giving a commandment. He wants you to open your eyes and he wants you to know that I'm the one who taught you. Alamati. Okay, so alamati etkem. All of the teaching about what Yah has done is directed to you. Okay. And the laws and the rules, all again, going back to what the Most High is saying, is directed towards you as a nation. Okay. He says, commanded Yahweh our Elohim so you can do it. Okay. In the midst of the land. So he commanded me for you to abide and to do it in the land. So you already have a note that says that you have to write down the word land because all the laws and the rules are for the land. Remember what he just said in verse number 2. Do not add to what I'm saying and do not subtract from what I'm saying. Is that what he said? He says you cannot keep the commandment if you add or subtract. So if you and I are saying anything other than what he said, you're not keeping the commandment. Okay? He wants us to know this because this is about entering the land. Okay. They say to abide in the land. This one says to be in the midst of the land. In the midst of the land, it has to be done. La asot. It shall be commanded to for you to not abide, for you to do. You do this in the midst of the land. So you can go ahead and possess it. The larishta there is for you to go in and possess her more specifically. Okay. It said, observe faith, observe them who guard what and do them where. And who's he talking about? He's talking about you need to do what? You need to do the judgments and you need to do the laws, which are the kukims and the mishpatim. The mishpatim are right here, and the kukim is right here. And it's directed to you. You are to do this. Okay. That's what you are supposed to do. Directed straight to you. Okay. When you are in the land. Okay, Akika, why you keep saying it? Because you and I are not in the land. Well, why aren't you in the land? Because when you and I were in the land, we did not do the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. But if we're saying, listen to me carefully, if we're saying that we're doing the law, statutes, and commandments while we're not in the land, then we're calling Yah a lie. And you're saying that the laws of Yah that were supposed to set us apart are for the law or the land for the lands that we're in. You're saying that we can accomplish what Yah wants us to accomplish here, everything He said here. And if that's the case, you get comfortable in saying that and believing that. And then what you and I do is we diminish what He said. When He talks about don't add or subtract, He's talking about don't diminish from what I said. So if He told us I want this to be done in the land, then it's supposed to be in the land. And it hurts our feelings because, well, I'm not in the land, but I want to keep the laws. And I turn back to him, yes, but again, that's our arrogance. And we're thinking that we're doing all the right things. And Yah says, I'm going to show you what he says. I'm not going to say what he said. I'm going to show you what he says. We're getting to it. Okay? So now, again, verse number 6. Observe them. What? The kukims and the judgment. Observe right here is called ushmartim. Okay? Ushmartim. The key word in this is called shamar, right here. Okay. And what shamar means in Hebrew is I'm going to show it to you. It's going to be on your right hand side. And then I'm going to give you access to this tool so you can go and search this for yourself. Okay. So here, right here, this word shamar, I got it right there. What does it say? It means to be a keeper, to be a guard. Okay. To give heed. Guard, observe. Where? Where are they supposed to guard and keep it and watch for it? Why? They are in the land. Okay. So the land is our inheritance. So when we get the law and the statutes and the commandments, they go with land. It goes with our inheritance. It's the rules and the understanding and the instructions on how to live in the land of our inheritance that he swore to our fathers. La Abraham, La Yitzchak, and Le Yaakov, which is to say in English, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. If you and I think that we can keep Yah's laws while we're not in and guard his laws the way that he said while we're not in the land, we diminish not only what he said, we diminish the promise that he made to our fathers. He gave that promise to our father Abraham because he said he will teach his children to do what the ways of the Most High, to walk in those ways. Okay? Not the ways of what you would say the covenant of what we received, but he's saying overall that there's only one Elohim to show hospitality, to show kindness. Okay? So here, the guardianship and the doing, the next word is to asitem, which is to do. Again, the same word. I want you to do it, accomplish it, make it, produce it, work it, deal with it. Where? In the land. You understand? So if we're to do it, so when it talks about observe it faithfully, that is a abstract term because you don't really know what it means to be faithful. You think faithful is just how you see it. It's not how you see it. It's what Yah said, which is to guard and to do, right? It says, because it is your wisdom and your understanding. That's what it is. It will be proof of your wisdom and your understanding. Got discernment here, which is the same for understanding. Okay. Other peoples, not the nations that you are in right now, but the nations of people that surround the land, the inherited land. They'll understand and see it because you're in the land and you're practicing these things. And so all those who are hearing all these kukim, because I asked the question, yeah, what do you mean when they yishmaun et the kalahu kukim? How is it that all these other lands are going to hear about your laws? Are you sending out missionaries or what is it? No, there's going to be people that are going to go to your land and they're going to live among you as foreigners and they're going to go and they're going to get the information and they're going to testify to the fact when they were living with you, this is how these people lived. Just like when he brought them out of Egypt, all the other nations said, we heard about Yahweh. We have heard what he has done for you because the word spread quick. So when they had strangers and foreigners coming into their land and staying, that's the reason why he didn't want them to be mistreated. Because he knew that when they got there, when they would go out and go back to their own land, they would bring that message to that land and say, hey, man, you know, those Israelites over there, they were X, Y, and Z, or they mistreated me. And if they mistreated him or the stranger, then that would put a reflection upon Yah. That's what it is. Okay, so the nations are going to hear all these kukim. Okay, not the nations all around the world, the nations that are surrounding the land. And surely that great nation is a wise and discerning people. That's who they are. They're a great people. A hagodolazeh. They're a hagoi. A hagoi hagodola goze. Which is to say that, remember, last week we learned that the Most High said, I made my children great. And I lifted them up. It says I raised up and brought up children. We went over that. And he said, I made them great. I made my children great. How did he make us great? He made us great by his laws. That's what makes us great. That's what people will recognize when we get back to our land. Verse number 7. They're still talking. These nations that are surrounding that land. Not the nations, not California, not Texas, not the UK, not China. They're not saying that. Because you and I are not in our land. So when you have these people out here that are teaching you that, hey, you know, the way that you live right now, you know, we're supposed to be assigned to the nations. No, we're a negative sign to the nations right now. Don't put the cart before the horse. You and I will not be great until we go back to our land. You will not be great until Yahweh is glorified, until he's magnified. How is it that you and I expect to be great and Yah has not been made great in the eyes of the people? How do you expect to be respected and Yah has not been respected? How do you expect to be honored and Yah hasn't been honored? How do you expect to be recognized for your gifts and your talents, and Yah has not been recognized for his greatness and his mercy and his compassion? That's not going to work. The nations are saying, oh, what are nations, laws and rules and perfect as all this teaching or all this Torah? So how did they know it? They experienced it when they were in the land. That's the mishpat that's righteous. It is to him, the kukim. Okay. When it says to him, it's the nation as an individual. Most High looks at the nation as one individual. He doesn't look at it as many. He looks at it as one, like one man. Okay. So the, the decrees, the judgments are righteous. And it says all of the Torah, this Torah, these instructions. There's no other instructions that are righteous. There's no other instructions. There's no other Torah except for the one that you and I are receiving right now today and the one that they received then. That's the reason why we need to go over the Torah. That's the reason why we're reading it right now, so we can get an understanding. He says, but take utmost care and watch yourselves. Okay. So here in the Hebrew, he says, watch yourselves scrupulously so that you don't forget the things in which you saw with your own eyes, and so that you don't fade from your mind as long as you live, and make them known to your children and your children's children. Okay. So here in the Hebrew, it says that I want you, when it says watching again, is dealing with the shamar, which is to guard. I need you to guard yourselves. When it talks about watching, it's like being on watch as a guard. You have to become a guardian. Only make sure that you guard to you, lecha, and I need you to also guard your soul. That's nafshika, okay? Your inner being, nefesh right here. I want you to guard your soul. This is what you and I need to guard. We need to guard our souls. It's your nefesh. Okay, right here, nefesh. I want you to guard your soul, your person, your mind, your appetite, your desires, your emotions. That's your soul. Okay, it's not your body, it's your soul. Okay, you need to guard that, your inner person, where everything is directed, right? So it's your soul that the Most High is telling us through Moshe that I need you to guard this very carefully. He said meod, okay? This meod right here, like tov meod, means, look, exceedingly, with greatness. So that's the focus. And guess what? We're seeing that. Guess what they didn't do? Because we're in exile right now. So obviously, what didn't happen is we didn't guard our soul. We forgot. Yeah. He says, paying tishkak. Okay. You forgot Yahweh. That's what it means. Here it is, shakak, right here. That's what happened. And how do we forget him? Yes, Elder Bill or Anzania.
Asanya. So maybe you're going to go into it next. So how do we? Okay, so we can't keep the law outside of captivity, right? So um, how what do we do to guard our nefesh now?
I'm gonna show you. You're
Okay.
right. See, you're you're so on it. That's what I love about you. You're always on it. You're right there. You're a couple of steps ahead because
Okay.
Yah's going to show us what it is that you need to do. Because the key to getting this, getting it back, he's going to tell you what we need to do. Okay. So keep that in mind that I'm about to show you what you need to do. Okay. So he's telling you that I don't want you to forget these things. Okay. And I don't want you to turn your heart. That right there is a saru, and saru means to turn. I don't want you to turn your heart. I don't want your heart and your mind to depart away from what I'm telling you today. Okay. And he hasn't even really, he's just kind of getting everyone prepared, like what I'm doing right now. He's preparing us to tell us how not to turn your heart. He's preparing us to tell us what you need to do to guard your soul. He's telling you need to guard your soul. And he's like, well, how do I do it? He's about to tell us. But he's letting us know the foundation, what this is all about. He says, look, and this is what it's all about right here. So, Azanya, your answer is in the next verse. It says, the day that you stood before Yahweh at Korev, when Yahweh said to me, gather the people to me, that I might let them hear my words, in order that they may learn to revere me as long as they live on the earth, and may so teach their children. The key word here and that you see here is called revere, but in Hebrew is called yere. Okay. So when he's saying here in Hebrew, let me show you. He says, on the day in which you stood, Moshe is telling the people, you stood before Yahweh. Okay. Your Eloheka and Bokorev. So so the location, let me calm down. The location that he wants us to understand is Korev. Remember, it's always about places, people, and things. So here he's saying, I want you to remember that you stood at Korev, which is Mount Sinai. That's another name for Mount Sinai, okay? So that's the mountain. And he said, Yahweh said to me, Yahweh told him to to Hakel. I need you to gather and assemble the people to me, okay? Assemble the people to me, right here. Assemble the people to me, okay? Okay, so remember the et is directed to the people. Okay, assign a definite direct object. So it's pointing directly to what I'm talking about. He said, I need you to go gather the people, the Ha'am. Go gather these people, and I'm going to cause them to hear. I'm going to ashmiaim. I'm going to cause them to shema, eshma. Okay, here's their shema. They're going to hear me. And the A right here is they are going to hear. I'm going to tell them. It's the first letter of Hebrew alphabet that says it means I. I'm going to talk with them, and they're going to hear. And you see the et right here for ha'am, and then he tells you what you're going to hear. You're going to hear et my words. Okay, so the people are supposed to hear those words. That's the only thing he is concerned about, is the words that he has spoken. Okay. He says, in which they're going to yilmadun, they will teach. Okay. What is going to teach? The words of Yahweh, the Devarai. Remember last week we went over Devar? He's saying, my words are going to be the one who's going to teach them to fear me. Okay. And you said, well, where's that? Right here. This word right here. Yire, right here. Fear. They're going to reverence me and be afraid of me. So to answer your question, Okoti, Azanya, in order for us to guard our souls, we have to fear the Most High. Okay? If we fear him, then you and I are going to revere what he has said. Okay? So you say, well, so do I need to go to the land to fear the Most High? No. No. The moment that you heard Yah's words, when you're in your exile, it's what's caused you to come back to him. That's what's caused you to have respect for the Shabbat, revere what he said about the diet, revere your parents, revere the Moedim, revere them, because those are the words that he said. He says, because those words, his words, okay, are what is supposed to cause you to fear him. Okay, that's what causes the fear, is what he said. So if you listen to what the Most High said and you do not fear him, okay, that means that it's a wrap for you. You're not going to keep the commandments. Okay, when I'm talking about keeping, you're not going to put them on guard in your mind. Okay, so I don't want to confuse you when I say keep them. What I'm saying is you're going to reverence them. You're going to look at them and you're going to listen to them. You're going to know that respect for Yah is to say, I heard what you said, and I know that you said I'm supposed to do it there. And because you said I'm supposed to do it there, that's where it's supposed to be done. So therefore, my respect and my reverence for you is by listening to what you said. I'm going to obey what you said. I'm not going to add to what you said. I'm not going to say that I'm keeping what you said when in the land of my enemies, when you didn't say that I'm supposed to keep your words while I'm in the lands of my enemies. I'm not going to water down, diminish what you said. So if you said you want an offering, that's what you said. If you said, listen, every time he said something, when he told Moshe, go and do this, he did not do what he said. He did something else. And Yah considered to be a rebel. Look what Korach did. He said that we're all Yahweh's people. We're all holy. He said, no. Yah has already chosen who he said is holy. He's already chosen the family that he won. They added to what he said. The man picking up sticks. What did Yah say? Don't do any work on that day. You understand? So it always goes back to what Yahweh said. It is his words that's supposed to cause us to fear him. That lamed right there is for teaching, but it's also in Hebrew means to be infinitive absolute always. Always to fear Yah. That was the purpose of him even coming to bring us to the mountain so we could hear his voice. He can hear his words so we can learn to revere or fear me as long as they live on earth. Yah hasn't spoken to anybody else but us. So that is the purpose of everything, is to learn to fear him by listening to his words. So then the question is, what words did he say on Mount Sinai or Mount Koreb that you and I are supposed to listen to? It doesn't go, guess what he spoke? The children of Israel, which we're going to get to, he's going to tell us the words that he said. So you be confused anymore about what did he ask us to listen to? What is he asking us? What does he say is going to cause us to fear him? Is it the fact that he killed 24,000 people and opened up the earth and swallowed them up? Is that what he wants us to be fearful about? No. No. That's a sidebar. That's a side piece. Do you want us to be fearful that, you're going to get impaled if you worship another God? No. Does he want us to be afraid that he give a plague and people just drop dead, or he sent serpents? Does he want us to be afraid of that? He said, be afraid about what you heard me say. Because the words that we heard is supposed to be, and a lot of us are saying, I wasn't there. I didn't hear him. He never spoke to me. That's what you're saying. That's not what he said. And I'm going to show it to you. You are his witnesses. Throughout all time, he spoke to you and only you. He didn't speak to no other people. He spoke to you. Yes, Azania.
It's not lasagna, brother. I just wanted to ask you. I just want to ask you if you could elaborate a little bit for me on Ezekiel 36 and 26, where he promises to give us a new heart. How does that fit in? A promise to give us a new heart, new spirit. I'm trying to say it correctly so I don't add
Yes.
to it.
Yes, he's saying at that time, after he brings us back out of our exile, he's going to bring us back to the wilderness, and he's going to cleanse us. He's going to wash us. He's going to remove everything that we have done from us. He's going to prepare us in order to go into the land. He's actually going to remove all all the rebels, everyone who's rebelling against him while they're still in their exile. They might say, I never heard anything. He says, that's not true. I didn't know what to do. That's not true. See, so Elder Bill, what's going on with us as a people is that we're making up excuses on why we can't do what he says, when actually what he's telling us to do is to do what I said. So if I told you that you can't do something unless it was here, why would you go and try to change that? That's the rebel. Okay. So giving us a new heart and a new mind to understand is to say right now, while we were in our land before, we didn't have the right type of mindset. We weren't willing to listen to these words. We didn't hold these words. We didn't revere him, right? So we're thinking the revere and the fear of Yah is by the things that we see him do to other people. And he's saying, no, the fear of Yahweh is listening to what I said to you. That's the fear of Yah. You understand? All the other things that happen along the way, like him sending the plagues and all that stuff, yeah, that can scare you. But if you notice, it didn't change the children of Israel's heart. It didn't change their heart. They went out to the wilderness and still rebelled after they saw all this. They rebelled even after they heard him speak. They rebelled even after he fed them. They rebelled. They didn't have the right type of mindset. So while we're in our exile, he's saying, who's going to listen? And he's going to show that to us in our teaching today. Who is going to give their heart to me? Matter of fact, I'm going to switch the game up. I'm going to go directly there and we're going to come back to chapter number 4 because I want to show you that I'm not just talking. I'm going to show you that the Most High has specifically told us, hey, listen, who's the people that are going to fear me? Okay, so listen to this. Table of contents, we're going to go to chapter number 5, same book right here. We're going to go to verse number 29, I believe it's at. And he's going to ask the question to help us, Elder Bill. Look at what he says. Because we were going to go over this. But in context, it said this. What mortal ever heard the voice of the living God speak out of the fire as we did and lived? Okay, so this is what they're saying. Told Moses, you go closer and hear all our Elohim, Yahweh says, and then you tell us everything that our God has said, Yahweh tells you, and we will be willing to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to listen to it. And we're going to do it. Okay. Verse 25, Yahweh heard, it says the plea. It's not the plea. Yah heard the voice, the et kol. He heard the voice of the words that were spoken, the Devar Kim, to me. He heard when you were speaking to me. That's what Moshe is telling the children of Israel. And he said, Yahweh said to me, I've heard, Shemati, I've heard the et kol. I heard the voice. I heard the voice of, and the words of the people. The divrei. I've heard the divrei of the Ha'amazeh, this people. I've heard this. He says, in which they have spoken to you. He says, what they have said, itivu, it is good. It is very good what they said of all in which they have spoken, right? Now check this out. Yah asked a question. They don't have it phrased as a question here because they mistranslated it. He says, may they always be of the such mind. Okay? May they always be of such mind to revere me and follow all my commandments, that it may go well with them and their children and with their children forever. The question here, everyone, is not may they always be. The question is me, Yutain. Me right here is a interrogative, or what they call an interrogative, and I'll put it right here for you. Me is an interrogative. As you can look to your right-hand side, it's a question. Who, whom, whose, right? It's an interrogative. That's how it's being used here. Here it is, right here. It is an interrogative. It is a question. It's like interrogating someone. So when he says who or me, the Most High, out of all the people that he spoke to, he asked a question, and this is in context of being at Mount Korev in chapter number 4. He says, who has given, who will give?
Here's the key to get it.
Word right here is give. Who's going to set? Who's going to put? Who's going to give? Give what? Who's going to give their heart? Who's going to give their mind? Who's going to exist of them to have a mind like this to what? To fear me. To fear me. So in connection to what was spoken, that he said, Most High told me to gather everybody to himself so you guys can hear his words. When they heard his words, they were shaken to their core and was like, hey, if we continue to hear this, we're going to die. Once you go up and hear everything he has to say, because if we continue to hear what he says, we're going to die. The Most High said what they said was good. I like what they said. And he asked a question after they said what they said. He says, who's going to give and exist? Who's going to give and set up and exist? Who's going to let happen or to become a heart of them? The levavam right here is of their hearts, their inner person, their inner mind, their inner soul, of this from them, that they would always fear me. Leira, to fear me and be afraid of me from the words that they've heard. So it goes back to the commandments. It goes back to the covenant. It goes back to what the Most High said. When the Most High told us that I am Yahweh, your Elohim, and there shall be no other Elohim, which we're going to get to in a few moments. That's what he's talking about. So the long or the short, Elder Bill, is to say that the mindset that Yah is looking for is the mindset that's found right here. He's asking a question, who's going to do this? Who's going to guard? Here's the Lishmar again. Who's going to shamar this? Who's going to fear me? Who's going to do all of my commandments? Who, right? So listen, who's going to do that? Who's going to all of their days so they might go well with them and their children? So when he said this, there were some people that really wanted this. I mean, there's others who just went along for the ride. So for us, how does this appertain to us? You and I have to learn how to fear Yahweh. And you're going to get that fear by saying, this is what he has said, and I'm not going to change it. If the Most High said that you need to gather on the Rosh Kodesh and do an offering, don't say that we're going to gather and that satisfies the law. No, it doesn't. By the law. If it's not where it's supposed to be, it doesn't satisfy. As the Most High said, I want the young men to come to me, all the men of Israel to come to me 3 times a year. You're not going to the Most High 3 times a year. Are you satisfying that kukim? No, you're not. So we've been deceived because we're thinking the way to get to the Most High is by saying, I'm going to appease him by saying, I'm going to do this because he knows my heart. I think it's Koti Azania brought out last week. He knows my heart. Yeah, he knows our heart. He knows our intentions. Okay. But he's not giving us a free pass to do everything outside of what he said and then say, well, I'm going to be satisfied with it. Go ahead. Go against what I said and I'll just accept it. No. In Ezekiel chapter number 36, Elder Bill, you brought out the fact that he said he's going to give us a new heart and a new mind. He also says, I'm not doing this for your sake. You need to be ashamed. You need to be ashamed of your ways. You need to be ashamed of your thoughts. You need to be ashamed of your disgusting practices because you and I don't understand that how we're living and what we're doing is disgusting to the Most High. But this,
Akika,
yes.
Canandra. When he reads Ko Hayamim Lamim, what does the Lama'in means? I don't.
That means for your sake. So let me highlight it for you. It means
Okay, thank you.
means Lama'an. Let me put it right here. Lama'an means for the sake or the
For the
purpose
sake.
and intent.
Okay.
Here it is. Lama'an.
Okay.
For the sake or the purpose of. Or
Okay.
for the sake of. So he says for the sake of or the purpose of all of your days, for the purpose that it will go good for you. So everything will be pleasing for us. Everything will be functional and good and well understood if we were to fear him. And not only do we fear him, but we also supposed to teach our children all of our days. We're supposed to show them. Okay. So Akika, what do we do? Because you're saying we can't do it. No, he's not asking you to do something you can. He's asking you to honor his law by saying, he said we can't do it right here. He didn't say I couldn't remember it because I'm going to show you that. Because that's where I think the debate comes in. Well, what are we supposed to do? He's going to tell us what to do. All we need to do is listen, right? So let's go back and let's find out in chapter number 4, what does he tell us to do? Okay. So let me see, search table contents. Back in number 4, we were at the part where he talked about he didn't want us to forget what he said. Don't forget what I'm saying. Don't let it fade away from your mind. Then he talked about how he told us that he did this so you can fear him. So you can learn how to revere me, to fear me as long as they live on the earth. Right? From what? From the words that I spoke at Mount Sinai, at Mount Koreb. He says, you came forward and stood at the foot of the mountain and blazed with flames to the very skies. Okay. Yahweh spoke to you out of the fire. You heard the sound of words, but you perceived no shape. And then he goes on to talk about there was no shape. There was only a voice. That was a call. There's only a sound of a voice, a zulati. There was only a voice. There did not exist. The Anakim right here is there never existed to you. There is no existence. Okay. Ain right here. Ain right here. There was not to you anything, nothing. Here it is, ain. There's nothing. You saw nothing. All you did was you heard. That's all you did was heard. So Yah's directing us saying, I don't want you to see anything. That's why he's telling Moses that you didn't see anything. All you did was you heard the voice of words, but there was no shape. So he's telling you, you don't need to see anything. You don't need to see a savior. You don't need to see a man. You don't need to see nothing in the skies. You don't need to see no miracles. You don't need to see nothing because you've already heard what Yahweh said. Okay, well, what are you talking about, Akika? You keep saying that you heard it. You keep saying I was there. You keep saying this, right? Listen what Yah said in Isaiah 43. He says, but now thus saith Yahweh. Okay, here's the Most High. He says, who created you, O Jacob, who formed you, Israel? Fear not, for I will redeem you. I have singled you out by name. You are mine. When you pass through the water, I will be with you through the streams. They will not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be scorched. Through flame, it shall not burn you. For I am Yahweh, meaning I am the eternal. I am Elohim, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. I give Egypt as your ransom, Cush and Seba in exchange for you because you are precious to me. That preciousness is Yah saying, I love you and you're honored and I love you. I give people in exchange for you, nations in your stead, right? Fear not, for I'm with you. I will bring your folk or your children from the east and gather you from the west. I will say to the north, give them back, to the south, don't hold them back. Bring my sons and my daughters from the end of the earth who are linked to my name, whom I created, formed, and made for my glory. Understand that. Setting free that people, blind, though it has eyes, and deaf, even has ears. All the nations assemble as one, the people gather among them. Who among them declared this? Foretold to us the things that have happened. Let them produce their witnesses and be vindicated. The people are hearing them say, it is true. Guess what Yahweh says? My witnesses are you. You're my witnesses. And Yah says it in a prophetic declaration in Nahum. Atem Adai. You are my witnesses. Nahum, prophetically, Yah was saying. Why is he prophetically saying that you're my witnesses? He declares this prophetically because you're the ones that he's going to use to say when he reveals himself, that's when you're going to know. Because you're going to be the only ones that are not going to die when you hear him speaking to you. Like the children of Israel had heard him and he said, hey, we've heard him and we didn't die. He said, what the people have said is good. He's going to use that very moment of what they said because they testified to the fact that Yah speaks with human beings and yet they didn't die. But what human beings did he speak to? He spoke to the children of Israel. You're my servant whom I have chosen. Avdi Asher de Bakarti, I have chosen you. Here's your word, Dawid. Lama'an, for the sake of what? That you will know and understand and support to me that I am the one. Okay? I'm the one. You would believe in me, meaning that you be sure about me and understand that I am the one. I am the one. And before me, no God was formed, and after me, none shall exist. Why? Because you're my witnesses. You're supposed to testify to the fact that there's no one but me. Just like you see in the book of Deuteronomy, where Moshe had told the children of Israel that this is for you to know. He's done all he's done to show you that there's nobody else but him. That's why the revelation of Yah's name. That's why the revelation of Yah's voice. That's why the revelation of Yah's fire. That's the revelation of bringing us out of Egypt. So we can be brought to a place so he can sequester us and let us know and introduce himself to us to let us know that there is no one else. And if you and I were to ever make any images of any likeness of anything that's in the heavens or in the earth beneath or anything beneath the earth, then you would know that you're a false witness. Because remember, he says, Yahweh spoke to you out of the fire. You heard the sound of words, perceived no shape, nothing but a voice. Elohim declared to you the covenant. Brought you there to hear his covenant. Those are his words. That's supposed to cause you to fear him. They call it the 10 Commandments. It's the 10 words. Okay. He says that you were commanded to observe. They say the 10 Commandments. It's not. It's the Aseret HaDavarim. The 10 statements, the 10 words, the Davarim right here. Right here. Get rid of that. Get that and show you the HaDavarim right here. Watch this. The words. That's what a davar is. The im tells you is plurality. The ha means the. Okay, the words. The aseret. You want to see what aseret is? Aseret is the 10. Right here, watch this. Aseret, 10. The 10 words. I'm not making this up. I'm telling you, he's telling us, you heard the 10 statements, the 10 words that I spoke to you, the 10 statements of the covenant. You heard that. Okay. And he said he wrote them, Vayiktavim, all of the Sheneda Lakota Avanim. I wrote them on all the words, on the stones. So Yah wrote down what he wanted us to know. That's what he wrote. Those words that were kept in a gold box, that was written for us. And he protected those words. And it's based on those words that holds us into a relationship with the Creator. So how is it possible that you and I are in a relationship with the Creator and we don't know the 10, the Aseret, or the 10 statements, the 10 words? Okay. At the same time, Yahweh commanded me to impart to you laws. So when they didn't want to hear what Yah had to say, he said, go ahead. He says, Yah told me to impart to you laws. That is the kukim, that he didn't speak to you directly because you didn't want to hear it. Then he said the rules, the mishpat team that he gives you in chapter number 22. Chapter number 22, all the way to 24. So that you can do them where? In the land. He's bringing this to our attention to let you know that the laws and the rules for living are not going to be in a land that you cannot perform them in. They're only for the land that you're supposed to inherit. They say occupy right here, but that's downplaying it. It's called larishta. Larishta has to do with taking possession of your inheritance. Crossing over to go into your inheritance. Larishta. To take possession of. Right here. Inherit. You're supposed to inherit a land that comes with laws, statutes, and commandments. That comes with moedims, which are appointed times. That comes with Sabbath days. That comes with new moons. That comes with tithes and offerings. That comes with celebrations. That comes with annual instruction. That comes with releasing people from their debts. You cannot pull this off in the lands of your enemies. Our job is to learn the 10 words so you and I can fear Yahweh. You understand? And he says, for your own sake, therefore, be very most careful. Telling you need to guard your souls. Again, here's the nishmar. Shamar means to guard. We went over that. You need to guard what? Me'od. That means very much. What? Your nafshotikim, which has the root in it to be your nefesh, which is your soul. You're supposed to be guarding your soul. They did not guard their souls to listen to the 10 words. That's what he's trying to tell us. You did not guard your soul. So what and how are we supposed to guard our soul? By fearing Yah. How do you fear Yah? By keeping the Aseret HaDavarim, which we're going to get into here shortly. So we can find out if we can do these things. Because there's always a question. We can't do the Moedim. We can't do the Sabbath the right way. So why should we do anything? He's going to show us. We got to be patient and we got to wait for it. Your soul is connected to fearing Yah. Your soul is connected to the covenant. Your soul is connected to the 10 words. Your soul is connected to the Most High Yah. I just showed you here that he said, you are my witnesses. You're my witnesses. You're my servant whom I chosen, to that end that you may thought and believe in me and understand that I'm the one. There's no one after me. There is no one coming after. Okay? So let's go back again and let's continue. So it's our souls that need to be on an alert. Okay? He says, look, since you saw no shape when Yahweh spoke to you at Korev. Korev is Mount Sinai where they received the 10 words. That's what Korev is. So let's verify and let's see if Korev is what he says it is. Let's look at Korev. Korev. Let's look at Korev, the desert. There it is. It's Korev, the desert. Another name for Mount Sinai, from which God gave the law to Moshe and Israelites, from which the Most High gave the 10 Aseret Hadavarim. And then Moshe went up and he got the Mishpatim and he got the Pukude and he got the Moedim, he got all that. But Yah spoke directly to us only the Aseret Hadavarim. Those are the only words that we heard. All the other words Moshe heard. All the other things, Moshe wrote it down. And that's why he said, Yah told me to teach him. Okay. So now it says that not to act wickedly and make for yourselves a sculptured image in any likeness or what, whatever the form of a man or a woman. Meaning that, no saviors, no Jesus Christ, no Buddhas, no, Muhammad's, no women, don't make any images of anything because you didn't see anything. All you heard was a voice. Then he goes on, no beast from the earth, any winged bird that flies in the sky, anything that creeps on the ground, any fish that's in the waters beneath the earth. Don't do that. So let me ask you the reason why. Why did he say these things? Because this is part of the Aseret HaDavarim. Why did he say you should not make an image? You didn't see any shape, because he's about to tell you about the Aseret HaDavarim. He's going to tell you about what the covenant is. So if you don't, he's explaining the covenant before he gets to the covenant. So when he says don't make any image of a man or a woman, that's in Aseret HaDavarim. It's just said in a different way. When he says don't make any image of any God, that's in Aseret HaDavarim. When he says that Yahweh is the only Elohim, that's in the Aseret HaDavarim. He's reminding them about what they have heard. And because what they heard, he's telling them, you cannot make anything. He says, when you look up in the sky and behold the sun and the moon and the stars and the whole heavenly host, you must not be lured into bowing down to them or serving them. These, your Elohim, Yahweh allotted to all the peoples everywhere under heaven. Okay. He said, but Yahweh took you, okay, but you, Yahweh took and brought out of Egypt the iron blast furnace to be his very own people, as it is now the case today. Now, Yahweh was angry with me on your account and swore that I should not cross the Jordan and enter the land that Yahweh Elohim is assigning to you as an heritage. For I must die in this land, right? I shall not cross the Jordan, but you will cross and take possession of that good land. So remember, what are we talking about? We're talking about the Haaretz. We're talking about the land. Talking about the land right over here. It's the land. That's what he's talking about. He's telling us you're going to take possession of that. You're going to do this. It's a good land. You're going to get the Hadavarim, the Haaretz, Hatova, Hazot. This is the good land that you're about to go in. You're about to take over this good land. And the only way you can do that is if you follow the Aseret HaDavarim. He says, take care. That means, again, Hishemeru. You need to shamar. You need to guard. Okay? Keep guard and keep watch and give heed to yourselves, lest you will forget Yahweh. You're going to ignore him or forget him. And guess what he told you you're going to forget? I want you to be careful that you don't forget the covenant. This is the reason why it could not be in a presentation on Google Slides, because the Most High is telling us that this is what I'm telling you not to forget. Because that's what you heard on Mount Sinai. That's what you heard from Mount Korev. These are the Aseret HaDavarim, which are the 10 statements of the covenant. So I'm telling you, do not forget the Berit, the covenant of Yahweh. It's the covenant of Yahweh, your Elohim. He brought us there to give us a covenant. The covenant is the 10 words that he spoke. This is what is going to cause you, when you hear those words, you are supposed to tremble and be afraid like you were when you were there. Well, I wasn't there. Yes, you were. He said, you are my witnesses. And he put it on. He's telling you that I've already made you my witnesses. You and I have a responsibility to Yahweh as long as you and I live on the face of the earth to fear him. And you don't get that fear by going to church. You don't get that fear just by reading a whole bunch of stuff. You got to listen to what he has said, which is the Eseret Hadavarim, the words that Yah spoke from the mountain. It says that Yahweh, that don't forget the covenant Yahweh Elohim concluded with you, or that he had made with you. He cut with Imakim with you. And listen, you are not to make for yourselves a fasel or to munah or to call it zivada Yahweh Eleheka. You are not to make for yourselves any sculpture, image, or any likeness of anything which Yahweh your Elohim has enjoined unto you. That is part of the covenant. So again, he's prepping them. So when he begins to tell them what the covenant is. For Yahweh, your Elohim, is a consuming fire. That is part of the covenant. Yah tells us in the covenant that he is a jealous Elohim. He's an El Konah. And so when he tells us when we go to the covenant and he says that he is jealous, El Konah, he's telling you that what's associated with me is fire. So if you and I go to another God, like it's in the covenant, and he says, you worship another God, you brought somebody before me, you're going to be destroyed. You're going to be consumed by the fire of Yahweh. He says, when you have begotten children and your children's children are long established in the land, and should you act wickedly and make for yourselves a sculptured image in any likeness causing Yahweh, your Elohim, displeasure and vexation, I call heaven and earth this day to witness against you that you shall soon perish from the land that you're crossing the Jordan to possess. You shall not endure in it, but it shall be shall be utterly wiped out. Listen, I need to slow down. This is a testimony by these two to tell us that you and I have perished from that land because of what? What have we done? Why are we put out of our land?
Because we forgot to guard.
Yes. So now he's saying, oh, you guys now know that you're reading the Torah, that I'm witnessing when I said to heaven and earth, you're not going to get the rain you need to get. You're not going to be able to live there no more. I'm going to bring war against you. I'm going to bring famine against you. I'm going to drive you out of your land. The earth is not going to yield what she needs to yield to you. And as a result of that, you're going to be consumed. And then you're not going to live there anymore. So when you're in the lands of your enemies, you're supposed to look and say, well, what happened? Why aren't we in our land? It's not that why aren't we with Yahweh? Why aren't we in our land? Why aren't we in our father's inheritance? Why are we scattered to the four corners of the earth? Because you and I forgot the covenant. We forgot it. And we didn't take any heed to it. We didn't teach our children. As a result of us forgetting and being driven out, it says right here in 27, Yahweh will scatter you. Don't add to this and don't subtract from. Don't diminish the pain in the process. Yahweh will use our punishment to teach us. So why are we running away from what he said? Yahweh will scatter you, not the nations. Yahweh will scatter you among the nations. And only a scant few of you will be left among the nations, which Yahweh Elohim will drive you. So if you and I are right now listening to Deuteronomy chapter number 4, Davarim 4, and we're understanding this, you're part of the scant few. You're few in number right now. Okay? When it says, well, Yahweh will drive you and scatter you, it says Yahweh will lead you. He will drive you there. Yenaheg, he will get rid of you. You understand? Here it is. Let's highlight it so we can see what Yanaheg means. To drive out. Right here, Nahag. Yah's going to drive you out. Yah's going to lead you out. Yahweh's going to guide you out. Yahweh's going to conduct you leaving. You're going. Why? Because you forgot the covenant. Not they forgot the covenant. You and I forgot the covenant. You and I were there. You understand? So when we're playing like, oh, no, that's not me, that's them. No, it's you. Otherwise, this would not make sense. Otherwise, you can't be held responsible for something that your parents did. No, it was you. It was us. Now that you're there in the nations, Yah says, there you will serve gods of wood and stone made by human hands. Why? Because that's what you made when you're in your land, which cannot see, hear, or eat, or smell. Right? If you search there, listen to this very carefully. That's the reason why there's no Google Slides. Yah wants us to know. He says, but if you will search there, you'll find Yahweh. You'll find Yahweh if you search, but you got to search with all your heart and all your soul. So what are we supposed to do since we can't keep the laws, Akika? You and I are supposed to be on a search, okay, on a viquashtim. You and I need to be diligently asking questions and saying, where is Yahweh? Scale.
Hey, Akika, I just had a question. I wanted to just go back to that verse you said that you were talking about how we are the people that he's talking about in the verse about how we're the same people. And I just think that I want a little bit more like deeper understanding of how you're connecting us here now to those people back then, because I understand it, like I believe that we were those people, but how would you explain it to other people to say that like we are the same people as those people that he's talking about, that we are the witnesses?
Here's a verse right here for you, and I got another one if you want to see it. My witnesses are you. What are they witnesses to? This is in Isaiah. And it's written in a Naum. Okay? Prophetic declaration. But that's not enough. I want to just show you this when he says that you're my witnesses. Let me show you in Deuteronomy chapter number 4, where we're going right now, to prove that you were there. Okay? So stay with me. So now, we just read that Yahweh is going to scatter you. So what audience is Yahweh talking to? Who's Moses talking to? Who's he talking to?
He's talking to the people.
Okay, and the people, the second generation, right? Aren't they the second generation? Right?
Cain, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So the question is did they get scattered? Or did they go into the land?
They went into the land. They didn't get scattered.
Okay, so the same people that went into the land are the same ones that got scattered. Correct?
Correct.
Good. So when did they get scattered?
When they were in the land.
Yes. So the same individuals that he's talking to right now, you, Edkim, okay? Edkim, right here, you guys, okay? You're going to be scattered, and you're going to be scattered among the nations. And only a few of you are going to be left among the nations which Yahweh will drive you. That generation that he was talking to did not go into exile. Not at that moment. They went into the land. When they went into the land in the book of Joshua, chapter number 3, I believe, 3 or 4, he says that whole generation died, and the children after them didn't know Yahweh. Okay? So we were there. They were there, and they were in the land. They're the same people that are in the nations today. Yes, Imian.
So he was talking to the soul as opposed to the body, because
Thank you. It's the soul. The soul is not bound by death. You just received the genetic, biological material from your mother and your father. That's why he's not telling you guard your body. He said guard your soul. Guard your souls. Balaam wanted to die like you. He said, oh, may my death be like theirs. May I die like them. You nailed it, MEI. It's your soul. You were there. Okay. So he says here that you are going to be scattered among the peoples, and only a few of you will be left among the nations to which Yahweh will drive you. There you are going to serve gods of wood and stone made by human hands that cannot see, eat, or smell. But if you search, you will find Yahweh your Elohim if you seek with him with all your heart and soul. Those individuals there from the biological genetic material died in the land. So what is he talking about? Your soul? How are they going to be up in the nations? Their souls. Just like when a man has a wife and he dies, his wife has to marry the brother. What is the brother supposed to do? What is the brother supposed to do if he's is if for his wife?
Plant a seed to keep the brother's soul going.
Yes, to keep a name, his name or his brother's soul to continue inside of the family. That's what makes us special. We're an eternal people. Now let me help you. Let me help you right quick. So let's answer this question. These are good questions. I don't mind. I'm not stuck on the study where, oh, well, I can't go any further. Let me finish this out. No, we're going to go there and we're going to look at it and we're going to see. Okay. So here, table of contents, chapter number 44. So Yah tells us that we're his, he just said that you and I are his people, right? And he said, you're my witnesses in chapter number 43. Here's in chapter number 44. He says, hey, but hear, O now, Jacob, my servant, Israel, whom I have chosen. So why is he mentioning Jacob? Is Jacob alive?
No, he's not talking Jacob. Jacob's talking about his descendants.
His descendants. And how long are they going to go? How long is Israel going to go? He says, Jacob, my servant Israel, whom I have chosen. Thus saith Yahweh, your maker, your creator, has helped you since birth. Fear not, my servant Jacob. Yeshurun. Yeshurun is a name of a term of endearment towards him. He says it's a nickname for him. He says, Yeshurun, whom I have chosen. He said, even as I pour water on thirsty soil and rain upon dry ground, so I will pour my spirit on your offspring, my blessing upon your posterity, and they shall sprout like grass, like willows by watercourses. One shall say, I'm Yahweh's, and another shall use the name Jacob, and another shall mark his arm of Yahweh, and adopt the name Yisrael. Thus saith Yohewah, the sovereign of Israel, meaning the king. He's the Melech of Yisrael, their redeemer. Yahweh Zavaoth. He said, I'm the first and I'm the last. There is no God besides me. Who like me can announce or foretell it and make and match me thereby? So he's saying, who can foretell it and match me thereby? Now listen to this. Even as I told the future to an ancient people, okay? The term there, ancient people, is a people called Amolam, okay? Am is people, okay? That's what Am is. And Olam is a people of what? You're a people of antiquity. You are a people forever. You're an everlasting people. You're a people who will continue in existence. You're a people of perpetual near. You don't have an ending future. You're the people of Olam. That's who you are. That's the reason why he can keep talking to you over and he said, I keep speaking to you. You're not listening to me. He's talking to the same people. When he says that you should be ashamed of your deeds and your conduct, he said, well, when did I do it? You did it. You just don't know it. He said that you and I were blind. If he told you that you were blind, then why are we saying that we can see? If he's saying that you're deaf, then why can you say that you hear? Hmm? If you're blind, well, I'm not blind. Yes, you are. You can't see. You don't understand. That's the reason why we're having the problems, because you and I don't understand what he said. Listen to this. 2 and 18 tells you something, okay? is it at? Yahweh says, I will lead the blind by a road that they do not know, and I will make them walk by paths they never knew. I will turn darkness before them, light, and rough places to level ground. These are the promises I will keep without fail, right? And then he says, let me go past here. He says, listen, listen, you who are deaf, listen, listen, you blind ones, look up and see who is blind as my servant, so deaf as the messenger I send. Who is so blind as the chosen one, so blind as Elohim's servant? Do you see many things he gives, but he no heed. With ears open, he hears nothing. You understand? Elohim's desires his vindication, that he may magnify and glorify in the Torah. Do you understand? Yet it is a people plundered and despoiled, all of them trapped in holes and imprisoned in dungeons. What's the point? Yah is telling you and I that we're blind. And he's telling you and I that you and I cannot see. And so, what can't you see and what can't you hear? What is it that you can't see? You can't see that you were there. Even if the Most High told you were there, you still say that you weren't there because your soul still is trying to avoid taking responsibility for what you did to the Most High. We're blind, and He's already told you that. Okay? And if you want me to show you in Deuteronomy, He says that you guys are blind. He said, I've talked to you, and you still don't listen. I've shown you, you still don't see. And he says, even to this day, Yah has darkened your understanding because you don't want to see that it is Yahweh who would take you in the wilderness and then scatter you to the nations. Then when he scatters you to the nations, okay, not the biological genetic material, but the soul back into the nations where you're at, where he told you this is where you wanted to be. So I sent you there so you can worship gods of wood and stone. Verse number 29, he says, but if you search there, you will find Yahweh. Where? When you're in the nations. So the you right here again is talking to a group of individuals. You will search, you will find Yahweh, your Elohim, if you seek with all your heart. So the only way that you and I can come to the Most High and find him is if you and I are on this quest to look for him. Looking for him says that I'm not looking for an image and I'm not looking for a symbol. I'm not looking for anything that was made with human hands. I'm not looking for a cross. I'm not looking for a man on a cross. I'm not looking for a statue. What I'm looking for is to hear the words of the living Elohim. And so what does he do? He puts it down and he writes it down so you would know he wrote those words in stone so they can never be changed, which you and I are about to get into. He says, when you are in distress because of all these things have befallen you, and in the end, return to and obey your Elohim Yahweh. In Hebrew, it tells you that you're going to be in Batsar. You're going to be oppressed, okay, when it comes onto you. And when these things find you, okay, it says when these things, it's not really these things only, but it's the words, the Hadavarim, right there. These words are going to find you. All these words are going to find you. Okay. In the last days or at the end of time, you're going to find it's going to find you. And you're going to return. Okay. And it says Vashafta, and you shall Vashafta. What's interesting here is he says, when it finds you, okay, Umauka, okay, it's talking to the individual. Okay. And it's when it says Vashafta, it's talking about when the individual, because remember the Most High says, who of all these people are going to be the ones who are going to set their hearts or give their heart to always fear me? It's only a certain group of people out of the group that are going to recognize, and they're going to be the ones who return to the Most High. Vashafta right here is going to let you know. Here, let me put it right here. Let me just highlight it so we can see Shafta. Shav. Shav means to remain and to abide and to sit and to return. Okay. That's what it's going to be. So when you and I make Yahweh our resting place and we abide in him and we dwell with him and we return back to him and we stay with him. Remember, he said earlier that the people in Baal Peor, Moshe told us that those people have abandoned Most High. There's the ones who left the Most High. Okay. So the Most High is saying, hey, if you are dwelling with me and you return, because to dwell in Hebrew means to return to your dwelling place. What you're going to do is you're going to return, and you're going to return to what? You're going to return to be a witness. And that's fine in this word right here, odd. Okay. As you can see, perpetual, continuity, but it also means to be a witness. Okay. Where's it at? I, door. Okay. So these are the grammaticals over here on the right-hand side, but it also means to be a witness, to perpetually. Now listen, if you are the people, remember we said that the Most High showed us that we are a people forever. We're a people from the ancient. We're a people from the future. We're the people of the past. We're these people. Okay. So this is how you and I are going to always. So there won't be any turning. So the individual that's coming to the Most High and testifying that he is the one who exists forever. Okay. This little dash right here, let me show it to you in the Hebrew. This little dash right here, that's called a mokef. They don't give you the definition on the right-hand side because it's a grammatical tool. That right there is telling you that that connects Ad to Yahweh. Okay. So remember, Ad is perpetually, eternity, and witness, and testifying to who? To Yahweh. You're going to testify to Yahweh. Okay. They say it's the unpronounced word unless you use the vowel points of Adonai. But listen what it says here. Yahweh is the one bringing into being. That's the one. Okay. He's the one who's bringing into being. That's the one you're going to return to. You're going to bring to the one who brings everything into existence. That's who you're going to be returning to. You're going to return to the one who is from eternity. That's who you're going to return to. There won't be any back and forth. I'm pretty sure if I asked you right now, would you turn to another Elohim? And you would say no. Because Yahweh has chosen you to return to him. So what's going to find us, trouble is going to find you. And when trouble finds you, while you're in the lands of your enemies, the Sa'uka, because that's what's going to find you, then you will find Yahweh when you return to witness and testify to Yahweh. And then it not only said that you're going to return to him, your Elohim, the Eloheka, not the Eloheinu, Eloheka, and then you're going to have a Shemata. What is it going to tell you? You will return and you will obey, meaning listen to Yahweh. And it's not only listen to Yahweh, guess what it says? You're going to listen to his voice. His Bokolo. Let me show you Bokolo on the side here so you'll know that I'm telling you the truth. Bokol, his voice. So what voice are you returning to? You're returning back to the voice that we heard in Mount Sinai. You're going to listen and obey that voice. Shema, Israel, you're going to hear and listen to the voice. You're going to listen to the words. And so without further delay, I'm going to finish up chapter number 4, and then we're going to read chapter number 5. I don't have time to go to 6 for the sake of time, but you're going to hear Yahweh's voice. And he's going to talk to you. He's going to talk to me. And he's going to tell us the voice that you're returning to. Okay. So it says, for Yahweh Elohim is a compassionate. He's Rakum. Rakum is compassion, but Rakum here has to do with the wound. Okay. It's compassionate. So you need to understand who you're returning to. He wants you to fear him, but he also is letting you know that I'm the Elohim of Rakum. I'm the Elohim of compassion. I'm the Elohim of the womb, because the womb has to do with Rakum. And he is the one who will not forsake you. I'm not going to, I'm not going to sink away from you. See there? I'm not going to be disheartened at you. I'm not going to withdraw myself from you because you've already sought Yahweh with all of your heart. Okay. And he says, and he will not yashkitika, meaning I'm not going to bring you to ruin. Okay. So yashkit here, let me get it out here. Yashkitika, yashkit means to bring to ruin. Okay. Or branding. Here it is. Shakat. I'm not going to destroy you. Okay. I'm not going to corrupt you. I'm not going to let you go to complete decay. And what he's talking about is your soul. He's not talking about your body. He's talking about your soul, because that's who he's in a relationship with. Okay. Your body's just being used to carry out, the things that we do and all that. So let's ask the question since we're here. If Yah says, I'm not going to destroy you, and I'm not going to allow you to go to corruption, he's not talking about our bodies, because our bodies are already going into corruption. We're getting older, right? And a lot of us are going to die and whatnot. And we're going to, that's what it is. What he's talking about is if he wants us to guard our souls, he's talking about the relationship when Yah says, I'm not going to abandon you. I'm going to always, be your Elohim. It means that Yah is not looking to destroy your soul. I'm not going to bring that into corruption because you're the one who decided not to worship other gods. You understand? When you come back to Yah, you're saying, I come back to you. Yah says, okay, hey, I'm Rakum, right? He's an El Rakum. Elohim is the Elohim of compassion. I'm not going to fail you. That's what he said. He's not going to fail us. You're not going to perish. He's not going to sink away from you. And better yet, he says he will not forget the covenant. What covenant? The covenant that I'm about to read in chapter number 5. He's not going to forget the covenant. The covenant that he told us in chapter number 4, verse number 13, that you and I should not forget. To be careful not to forget, because he's not going to forget it. So this is what keeps you and I connected to the Most High, is the Et Barit. Okay? Which he made an oath with your fathers. Okay? He's not going to forget this. He nishbat alehim. He's not going to forget the covenant. But it told you, okay, that all you need to do is this, okay, to prove that you are the one who was standing there. It says, but you have to inquire about the bygone ages. He wants you to ask. Sha'al here means to ask a question. I need you to now ask. There it is on the right-hand side. I need you to ask. I need you to inquire. I need you to beg. I need you to beg for it. I need you to make inquiry, to seek out the truth. And what he wants us to do is to ask about the past and the ages that have already gone by. He said, I want you to do that, right? Which were before you. And he says, ever since Elohim, Yahweh created mankind, humankind on earth, from one end of the earth to the other. And the question is this: has anything as grand as this ever happened as it is? Huh? Or has it like ever been known? What? What is he talking about? What grand thing is he talking about? Is anything as great as this has ever happened? Has anything from one end all the way to the other side of the heaven, has there ever existed anything called Davar Hagodol Hazeh? Or has there ever Nishma Komohu? Has anyone ever heard anything like this? Heard what? He's going to tell you this. What, the Yah's told you that he's going to, if you would seek him, you're going to find him? See, this is where we're missing it. Because you and I are not inquiring. Because you and I don't want our past. This, Kale, you have but to inquire about bygone ages that came before you, ever since Elohim created humankind on the earth, from one end of heaven to the other. Has anything as grand as this ever happened? And he's going to explain a little bit more about that. Or has its like ever been known? Meaning, has Most High ever spoke to any person from the heavens? Has he gone and taken another nation? Look, he says, has any people heard the voice of Elohim speaking out of the fire as you have and lived and survived? We're thinking that, oh, it was for that time. No, 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 no. He told you to inquire in the past, in the ages before. What's grand? Him just talking to us? Or is it grand that he has came and taken a nation out from the midst of another nation? He's never done that before, out of the midst of another nation. He hasn't done it. He's done it by signs and wonders and portents and war, by mighty hand and outstretched arm and awesome power, as your Elohim did for you in Egypt before your very eyes. Has he done this? Has this been clearly demonstrated to you that Elohim, Yahweh alone is Elohim and there is no one else? That is the same verbiage that's used in the book of Isaiah, which is thousands of years later. And the Most High says it. Have anyone ever heard of anything like this? You staying alive, listen to me. We staying alive when after he spoke to us, that right there is the grand thing. Your soul heard Yah speaking. Is it a grand thing that the Most High can take another nation? Is it a grand thing? Is it a wonderful thing? Is it and then call them all by name and gather them back to himself? Is that something? That's something too. You and I are one of his works. Understand? From heaven, Elohim lets you hear the divine voice to discipline you on earth and to let you see the great fire. From the midst of the fire, you heard his words. And having loved your ancestors, Elohim chose their heirs after them. He personally, in great and divine might, led you out of Egypt to drive from your path nations greater and more populous than you, to take you into the land and assign it to you as an heritage, as it still is the case. Now, therefore, this day, and keep in mind that Yahweh alone is in heaven above and on the earth below. There is no other. That was the whole purpose of Moshe telling you everything. So he tells us to observe the laws and the commandments which I enjoin unto you this day, that it might go well with you and your children after you, that you may live long and remain in the land. So you and I are not remaining in the land, and because we didn't teach our children. See, that is a sign for you for how long? All time. So when he's talking about your children, he's talking about biological genetic material, same souls. And then he goes on to talk about all other things that he did to set up the cities for refuge. In closing, Moshe summoned all Israelites and said to them, "Hear, O Israel, the laws and the rules," meaning the Kukim and the Mishpatim, today that I'm declaring to you. Study them, okay, and observe them faithfully, okay? That's the lamad. I need you to lamatim. That means to learn them or to study, okay? On your right-hand side, looking up the words, lamad, right here. Teach them, learn them, exercise in them, be trained in them, disciplined by them, okay? Why? Well, they were going into the land so they can do them. He wants them to do them while they are in the land, okay? So it's brought to our attention that this is something that they did not do. They did not study, they did not learn, and they did not teach them, okay? So that they could do them, okay? This la sotam is forever while they're in their land. They're supposed to be kept in the land. Okay? So, our Elohim, Yahweh, made a covenant with us at Korev, because that's what this whole thing has been about. That's why chapter number 4 was even mentioned. He said, it was not with our ancestors. He didn't make this covenant with our ancestors, which is Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. He didn't make this covenant with Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda. He didn't make it with them. He made it with their descendants. He made it with those who are living, every one of us who are already here today. Okay? So the question is, this generation he's talking to is the second generation. How about the one before that? There's your answer, Kel. Here's another example. He said, it was not with our ancestors that Yahweh made this covenant, but with us, the living, every one of us who is here today. What about the ones who died in the wilderness? Did he not talk to them at Mount Korev?
He did.
He did. But are they standing there today, that day? No. Because we just learned last week that it came in the 40th year, and all the men who've gone against the Most High died in the wilderness. But he made a covenant with them. So he's not talking about those ancestors, is he? He's talking about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, everybody that's prior to Mount Sinai. Because look, in context, he says, our Elohim made a covenant with us at Korev, Mount Sinai. Who's us? Moses and everybody who is not only alive there today, but even those who were not standing there. Remember? He made the covenant with those same men. He's talking about what not with our ancestors, talking about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and talking about the 12 sons. He did not make a covenant with them because they never made it to Mount Sinai. They did not go to Korev. Okay? This is different. Face to face spoke Yahweh to you on the mountain. Guess what? Is this done properly? Panim panim. Yes, it is. He spoke Yahweh, Dabar Yahweh to Imakim with you, plural, on Bahar, from the Mitoka Haish, from the fire. So why is does Moshe keep mentioning the fire, everyone? What is he's a El Konah, and he's a consuming what? He's a consuming fire. So if you and I don't listen to the covenant was given in fire to remind you to fear Yahweh and to fear him because he's a jealous El. He's an El Konah. And he's showing you that by the fire. That's why the people were afraid. He said, I'm glad I've come this way so that they can always fear me and teach their children. That's why Moshe is always saying he spoke to you out of the midst of the fire. He spoke to you out of the midst of the fire. This great fire that you saw, you were afraid of this great fire. He's reminding them that Yahweh is an El Konah. He said, I stood between you and Yahweh at the time to convey Yahweh's words to you. For you were afraid right? You were afraid of the fire. That's Yah's jealousy, and did not go up on the mountain, saying, because they were supposed to go on the mountain, but they didn't. Okay. Now he's going to tell us what was spoken. It says that I am Yahweh, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mizraim, the house of bondage. Correct? Yeah. Anoki Yahweh Elohim.
Exactly.
Yeah. Beth Avadim, I'm the one, right? Let me ask you a question. Were the people that were standing there, all of them, including their children, did they see Yahweh bring them out of Egypt?
Yes.
How about the babies that were born in the wilderness? Did they see Yahweh bring them out?
I don't think babies are observant in that sense, but they were there.
But they were there. But what I'm saying, a lot of babies were born in the wilderness. They were born in the wilderness because remember their numbers increased. So
they didn't see it.
They didn't see it, did it? But Moshe said, all of you standing here today, you saw it. See? He said, you shall have no other God besides me. Now, why does he not want them to forget that? Now, do you see why he mentioned Baal Peor and why he mentioned don't make any images? Lo yiyeda lakat Elohim na'akerim na'al don't ever have one in front of my face. Remember, he said, don't add any words upon my words. Don't add anything and bring anything before my face. Okay. Then he says, what? You shall not. Lo ta'aseh. Remember, he's been talking about making things. He says, Lo ta'aseh lakaf asel and call it tumanah. So I shared about Shamayim the Mima all, and why I shared about Retz and Mitakath, and why I shared about Mayin and Mitakath la Retz. You shall not make for yourselves any sculptured image or likeness of any likeness of what is in the heavens above or on the earth below or in the waters beneath or below the earth. So remember, he told us in chapter number 4, don't make any images of any fish, any man, any woman, any likeness. All you heard was a zulati kol. All you had was a voice. So Moshe is already told them, what does it mean not to have any likeness? He's already explained, no, you didn't see any shape. You didn't see any beast. You didn't see anybody flying. You didn't see a man. You didn't see a woman. You just heard a voice. So this is why he was mentioning the next word. Lo tishtakawe lehem valo tavadem v'kianoki yavaleheka el kona. He's a pokeda wonavot, the alabanim, and ve'al shilashim and ve'al ribaim lelasonai, which is to say, you shall not bow down to them or serve them. And that means absolutely never. Okay? Two, the gods. For I am Yahweh, your Elohim. I'm an impassioned Elohim. I am an El Konah. Remember, he says that he's an El Konah, that's with fire. And he says he visits the Awon, the perversity of the fathers upon the children. Okay? Upon the third and fourth generation. Right? So this is the reason why he tells us, or those generation of those rejecting me, the Lasonai, those who are trying to distance themselves away from me. So remember, he said that you needed to teach your children. That's why he mentioned teach your children. Because if you don't teach your children, then Yah says, I'm going to come visit what you didn't teach them. Whatever it is that you didn't teach them, I'm going to visit that upon them. Because they're your children. And they're the souls that are in Israel that didn't get the proper training. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you. There are no new souls in Israel. Do you understand that? There are no new souls in Israel. It's a group of people that have been selected out of all the nations and all the souls. He said, I didn't choose you because you were the many. I didn't choose you because you were this. I chose you because, and we'll go into that in 7 probably later. There's no additional souls. It's already locked in. That's why he's telling us not to intermarry with anybody and to keep yourself separate. You don't supposed to be with any other people. He said, lest you contaminate the seed, the physical seed. You understand? So when the soul of the individual comes there and the body is messed up, they're not going to be able to respond properly. Okay? He says, but look, veil say kesid la lafin la havaidu l'shamrei the miswotai. He says, but showing kindness. Yes, Emiyah.
All right. So I just wanted to ask, what about foreigners who then follow the laws of our Creator? We're not still meant to mingle our seats with them.
No, you can't. No, because listen, remember he said with the foreigners, he said the foreigners can live with you. They're in the same when he says the same law, it's not all of the law. He's talking about the laws that appertain to them. Remember, he said a foreigner can be living with you. They can eat an animal that's torn, but you can't. Do you remember him saying that?
Yes, I do actually. Yes,
Yeah.
I thought it was referring to those outside of the
No,
do not.
no. Those who, even the ones who are living among you, there's things that they can do that you can't do. They don't have, Yah has not written their names down on his hand. They have no recognition in terms of in the temple. They are not allowed to come to the temple, okay, in terms of going in to serve in it. They can bring their gifts and whatever, but there's certain things that they can do that you can't do if you're an Israelite. Because Yah has set us apart. But if they decide, hey, I want to join with you guys, great, you guys can join us, but you're not going to inherit the promises that belong to us and our fathers. Certain things. Okay? So he's saying, I'm going to show kindness to the 1,000th generation of those who are loving me and keeping my commandments. Here it is. It's not love me, it's loving. Okay? The lahovai right here. And that has an infinitive absolute on it, meaning that you're always loving me and you're always guarding what I said. Here's the Shamar again. I need you to always love me and always guard what I'm saying. The fear of Yah is the beginning of wisdom. He says, Lo tisa, the F Hashem Yahweh Eleheka de Lashav, Ki lo Yanakwe, Yahweh et Asher Yisa, the F the Shemot de Lashav. Meaning you shall not to swear or to take Yahweh's name falsely. In the name of Yahweh your Elohim, for Yahweh will not clear or acquit anyone who swears by his name falsely. What this means is that you consider Yahweh's name nothing. Okay, so the word is called Tisa de Ephod Hashem Yahweh Eleheka de Lashav. Let's look at what Lashav means right here. I'll put it, highlight it, it'll show you on the right-hand side of the screen and tell you what it is. That's Shamor. Here's Lashav right here. There it is. So when he's talking about, swearing on my name, what he's saying is, you made a promise to do something. Remember, Yas, let me go back. Let me go to 43 again. He just told you and I that, guess what? You are the people that I chose, right? Is that what he said to us? He said, you're the people that have my name. 43. Here it is. You are who created you, O Yaakov, who formed you, Israel. Fear not, for I will redeem you. I have singled you out by name. You're mine. You're mine. Do you understand that? You belong to the Most High. His name is on you. Okay? That's what you need to understand. You are mine. I have singled you out by name. I've called you by your name, by Vishimcha, right here. That's your name. I've called you out by your reputation and your name. You're mine. No one else, just him. Karate, like karate. To do karate, I've called you. I proclaimed you. So you and I don't understand when Yah proclaims something, it is, and it will always be. And there's no mistake when he says, I proclaimed you, I called out to you. Literally, like if it's that Yah has read out our name, I have summoned you, I have invited you, I've called to you, I have appointed you, you're mine. And so what we're trying to do is include everybody else. And then we're trying to shape, how he's supposed to see them versus how he sees us. No, you're Yah's people. And he's saying that for you, because Yahweh's name, he talks about his name, Yah's name is his shame. You cannot take his name, his shame, his reputation, okay, his fame, his glory. That's what his shame means. You're not going to take what belongs to me and you're not going to consider it empty. You're not going to have my name on you and then you're going to act like what I said means absolutely nothing. Your conduct is not going to be worthlessness. You're not going to, because you have the laws and you have the statutes and you're in the covenant with me, there's certain things that you can't say. You cannot be a liar because you're attached to me because I'm not a liar. Your conduct, you got to be merciful because I'm merciful. You got to show some raccoon compassion because I'm compassion. You're not supposed to let the wicked go free. That's why God says, I have given you my judgments. You and I are supposed to celebrate the majestic Moedims and the Sabbaths that was given to us as our sign. It ain't a sign for the world, it's for you. You understand? Speaking of the Shabbat, he says, Shemor eth yom nehashabbat. Laquadasho, kadasher ziva yawada elaheka. Observe. What is observe here? They're using here. Shemor. Shamor. What is the Shamor? Shamor is to guard. Guard the Shabbat. This is what Moshe is telling them, guard the Shabbat. Why? When they get into the land. When he spoke to us in Korev, it's a little variation. And it says Zakor, Shamor, it says Zakar. I need you to remember the Shabbat. Okay? So he's telling them, and I want to be clear, he's telling them what they got to do when they get into the land. That's what he's telling them. Okay? He says 6 days you should do your work, and on the seventh, but the seventh day is the Shabbat to Yahweh Leheka. Before I go any further, though, I want to explain something so you don't get confused. Okay? I just told you here it says observe the Shabbat and keep it holy, right? And I said they use the word Shamor. And Shamor means to guard. If you look right here to the right hand side, is to keep, guard, and observe, and to give heed. Okay. You said, if you told me that I got to guard it, one moment you're saying I got to guard it, another one says you said I don't have to guard it, you said I can remember it. Guarding it means doing it exactly the way that Yah said. Okay. So let's go and look at what the Most High said when he gave him out Mount Korev. Moshe is saying this to remember it, to guard it because they're about to go into the land. When the Most High spoke to us, he told us not to forget the covenant. In Exodus chapter number 20, he doesn't use the word Shamar. He used the word Zakar. Okay. Here it is. Here it is. Remember the Sabbath. That's what we were told. That's what you and I are supposed to remember. So if you look at the word Zakar or Zakor right here, it means to remember. So Akika, what am I supposed to do about the Shabbat? So I'm supposed to guard it, but you said I can't guard it because I don't have everything. Yeah. So when Moshe was talking to them, he's telling them that because they were going into the land. So they can guard it. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to remember it. Okay. So remembering it is different than guarding. Remembering means to call it to mind. It means to recall it. Mean like, okay, well, when is the Shabbat? Okay, is this time? Okay, well, what did he say? He said that you shouldn't work. Well, I gotta work because I'm in exile. Okay. Well, just remember that the reason why you're working is because you didn't listen to the commandments when you were in the land. That's why you're working on the Shabbat. You need to remember that you're working on the Shabbat right now simply because you and your ancestors didn't guard it. You didn't shamor it. So what does Yah give us? He says, I want you to remember the covenant. I want you to remember it. I need you to remember the day of the Hashbat. Okay. So there's a clear distinction between guarding and remembering. Here, observe it. So, context, he's telling them that were standing there that day, Shamor. Why? Because you're going into the land. That's what the whole conversation is about since chapter number 3, verse number 23, all the way down. You're going into the land. You're crossing over to the land. When we get to the land, we got to do this and that. He said, when you get to the land, guard the Shabbat. Okay. Then he says this 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. He said on the seventh day. Now here's the kicker to let you know that he's talking about the land. He says on the day of the seventh, okay, but on the seventh day is the Shabbat to Yahweh your Eloheka. You shall not do any work, you, your son, your daughter, your male or female slave, your ox, your ass, or any of your cattle, or the stranger in your settlement, said so that your male and female slave may rest as you do. So when you get to the land, I don't want your male and female slaves working. Okay. Then he also throws this on there. Vasakarta kievet, you hayita. You need to remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt. Okay. And Yahweh freed you from there with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore, your God, Yahweh, has commanded you to observe the Shabbat, or for you to la'asot, for you to do it. Here's our word, la'asot again. I want you to fashion it, I want you to accomplish it, and I want you to do it, and I want you to make it, and I want you to deal with it. I want you to do it all while you're in the land. So when Yah freed you from your slavery in the land of Egypt, it was because with a mighty hand he did this, and that's the reason why he commands you to do this for the Shabbat. So you were freed so you can do it the way you're supposed to, so you can la'asot. Remember, the la'asot is always. Okay. The la right here, again, is what? I keep telling you, it's an infinitive. It's a shepherd staff. It's telling you, hey, to go somewhere, to go towards. Okay. So you need to always la'asot while you're in the land. Okay. So he says, remember that you were a slave. Now, let me ask you a question. Let's see if you're going to be honest. Are you a slave right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Yeah.
So can you keep the Shabbat?
As best as we can, as far as
Yeah.
remembering it. But we can't keep
Okay.
it in the we can't keep it in a context as being in the land.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have the freedom? Because it said, Yah said you freed. He freed you. So are you freed right now?
Yeah, right.
Okay. So we're starting to understand when we study and we understand, well, when he said this, let's don't conflate the two. When he spoke to them when they were at Mount Sinai, he says, Zakor eth Yom Shabbat. Here, when Moshe's them going into land, he says, I need you to guard it. Why? Because if they guarded it, it would have kept them in the land. And I can show you text that said that when they were in the land, they didn't keep his Sabbaths in the land, the Sabbaths of the land, the Sabbaths of the people. And therefore, that was another reason why he put them out of the land, because they didn't guard it. They didn't guard it to do it while they were in the land. So that means that they weren't allowing their male and female servants to rest. Because remember, he said, for this reason, He said, you're supposed to let your male and female slaves rest as you do. You don't have any male and female slaves. You don't have any oxen. You don't have any donkey. You don't have anything that the Most High put in your hands. So he just wanted them to remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, to consider that even your male and female slaves used to be one. So you know what it's like. So the question is, can you do it while you're not freed? And the answer is no. You can't. You can succor, you can remember it, you can recall it to mind. And when you recall it to mind, all it's supposed to do is remind you, damn, we were a slave. Damn, man, we got put out of the land. Why? Because you didn't keep the Sabbath. Ah, oh. Well, what if I keep them now, Yahweh? What if I, oh, really? You can keep them? There's no offering, there's no priest, there's nothing. You're still subjected under the leadership of other people. You talk about keeping the Sabbath. So you and I think that Yah's Sabbath is supposed to be kept in a foreign land, on foreign soil, with foreign gods, that he said, I sent you there to worship their gods. So what would be the point, like Elder Builder mentioned earlier in Ezekiel chapter number 36, I'm going to bring you out and give you a new mind, a new heart, new spirit. Why would he give you all that? Why would he need to cleanse you from where you're at? Why would he need to give you a new mind? If you're okay right now, why do you need a new mind? Why do you need to be cleansed? Yah's not receiving it. He's not receiving this from our hands. You understand? He's not going to receive it. Not. Why? Because you're on punishment. That's the whole purpose of even coming to class. And a lot of people don't want to come because they're like, oh, well, he's just telling me all the bad stuff. He's just keep pounding that you're not in the land, you're not in the land, you're not doing it the right way. I'm telling you exactly what he said. I'm honoring what he said. Do not add to what I said. Do not subtract from what I said. He tells the prophets all the time, you tell them exactly what I said. Don't go from the left or to the right. You do what you're told. He doesn't care that you know, what we're talking about. He cares about if you and I are seeking him and if we're making inquiry, and he wants us to know when we find out, you'll find out, well, guess what? All this bad stuff and it's bizarre, all this oppression has happened to me. Why? Why, Yahweh? Why is all this bad stuff? Because when you were in the land, you didn't listen. You didn't listen to the voice of Yahweh. When you were in the land, you worshiped other gods. When you were in the land, you did not keep the Sabbath days. When you're in the land, you didn't keep the appointed times. When you're in the land, you did not do what I told you. You mistreated the foreigner and stranger. When you're in the land, you made other images and you bow down to them. I wasn't there. I didn't do that. Then why are you in exile? It's like a child that you put on punishment. They're sitting in the corner and they're saying, why am I here? And they still don't get it. You still don't understand why you're here, don't you? Okay. He says, honor your father and your mother, right? You need to honor your father and your mother as Yahweh Elohim has commanded, that you may, long endure, and that you may fare well in the land. Well, let's just take that off. Let's just say, no, that doesn't apply anymore. Let's New Testament it. Nope. What did Yah say? In the land, that it might go well with you. In the land. So are you saying that we shouldn't do well for our mother and the father? No, I'm telling you that the reason why you're in the situation you're in today and why I'm in the situation we're doing today is because when we did have the biological genetic material while we're in our land, we did not honor our father and our mother. Remember, he's visiting the iniquities upon the fathers unto the children to the third and fourth generations of those who are hating him. My parents didn't hate him. Yes, they did. Because they didn't teach you. So you don't want to recognize that your parents and grandparents and parents did not. And guess why they didn't teach you? Because they weren't taught. So what happens is this cycle of trauma continues generation to generation to generation because nobody wanted to listen to the Most High. Why are my kids not listening to me? They weren't taught the Torah. And guess what's going to happen? Their children are not going to listen to them. Why? They wouldn't listen to the Torah. They're not turning wholeheartedly back to Yah. So I got to commend our brother and our sister, our elder and Azania, because they have their grandchildren and they're teaching them the Torah because they don't want the cycle to continue. They're doing what Yah wants all of us to do and what we should have been doing. And when they're doing that, Yah recognizes, hey, look, they're turning back. They're trying to change the course of the family's results. Okay. Like in the wilderness. Like I told you, when your family did well, things would go well with you. When your family did messed up stuff, it wiped out a whole bunch of people, and then you don't get a whole bunch of land. There's no reason for a whole bunch of land because you guys are acting up. So we have to keep the Torah practical. You understand? That's what it is. Okay. So Yah says that this honor your father and your mother, it'll go well with you in the land that Yahweh is giving and assigning to you that you're supposed to inherit. For the land. You should not murder. You should not commit adultery. You should not steal. You should not bear false witness against your neighbor. Right? You men, you should not covet. You men. I'm glad that it shows this right here. Because a lot of them doesn't. You men. I don't want you to covet your neighbor's wife. Because the wife is not covering somebody else's wife. Likewise, none of you shall crave your neighbor's house or his field or his male or female or donkey or slave or an ox or ass or anything that belongs to your neighbor. Okay? Anything that is your neighbor's. Yoreacha. Okay? In conclusion, Yah spoke all these words. That's what he did. The Eftah Davarim Ha'ele. Taber Yahweh El Kol HaKohalakim. He spoke to all of the congregation on the Bahar Mitoka Ha'esh, the Ha'enan. The Ha'esh is the fire, people. That's what he spoke to us. Out of the fire to remind us. And with a dark cloud. And he inscribed them on the 2 tables of stone and gave them to me. And when you heard this voice that was coming out of the darkness while the mountain was ablaze with fire, you came up to me, all of your tribal leaders and heads and elders, and said, our Elohim Yahweh has just shown us a majestic presence, and we have heard Yahweh's voice out of the fire. We have seen this day that humankind, meaning Ha'adam, can live, even though he's addressed by Yahweh. Let us not die. Then, for this fearsome fire will consume us. What? If they continue to hear the voice of Yahweh. Any longer, we shall die. So, what is the 10 words? The 10 words is fire. And the words that Yah spoke came out of the fire. The words will consume you. It is the voice of Yahweh. And they said, we shall die if we continue to hear the voice. The voice of what? The voice of the words of Yahweh. That Yahweh gave to you and I. Do you hear me? So that's where we're at. Question is, do you and I want to listen to the fire? Do you want to listen? Because every word that we just read was the fire. That's what the words that came out of the fire. So because they're written on pages of a book, you and I would think that they don't have any meaning. Okay, so here, when Yah says he's coming back, and he says he's coming back in fire, okay? Yahweh is going to speak these words. And because we're the children of Israel, we won't die. Everyone else who hears them and that have gone against the commandments of the Most High are going to die. That's what makes you special. He says, remember that when you pass through the fire, and I'll show it to you so you'll understand it. When you pass through the fire, you will not be burned. Okay. Do you remember he said that to you? Hmm? Do you remember? Where he said, when you pass through the fire, you're not going to be burned. Okay. So he's telling you that when anything he's talking about fire, he's talking about judgment. And when he's talking about judgment, he's talking about his words. So if you have heard Yahweh speak to you, which you have, okay, listen to this. But not, thus saith Yahweh, who created you, O Jacob, and who formed you, O Israel, fear not. What? Don't be afraid, for I will redeem you. I have singled you out by name. Listen to Yah. I have singled you out by name. You are mine. Go back to the Torah. It says that he chose you out of all the people to be a special possession to him, that you're his. He says, when you pass through the water, I will be with you. Through the streams, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through fire, you shall not be scorched. Through flame, it shall not burn you. What? I am the eternal. I am Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. Save you from what? He's already saved us from our slavery and our ransom, right? He said, I'm going to give, I've saved you, I've ransomed you because you are precious to me and honored. I love you. I give people in exchange for you and nations in your stead. Fear not, for I am with you. So are you thinking these are just poetic words to make you feel like, well, you're with me spiritually? Well, he didn't deliver the children of Israel to Egypt, and everything he said up to this point about I give Egypt as a ransom and I gave people's lives in exchange for yours, was that spiritual or was that physical? Somebody answer. Was
That
that
was
literal?
literal. That was
That's literal.
literal.
So when he tells you, don't be afraid, I'm with you, what do you think he's saying? You think he's appealing to our spiritual nature? Or do you think he's trying to tell you that I don't want you to be afraid because of something that you're going to see? Yah is going to come in fire and he's going to destroy the whole entire planet. And because you're listening to him, he tells you, don't be afraid. Fear not. When you walk through fire. You think he's saying it spiritually? Oh, let me ask you a question. When he said that when you pass through water, has Israel ever passed through water?
King.
Have they ever passed through a stream or a river?
King.
Did he ever let it overwhelm them? No.
Never.
Yeah.
See, so it was physical, wasn't it? So how is it everything prior to the fire? Now we're going to get spiritual. Yah's telling you that you're going to walk through the fire. You're going to go through the flame. Just like you went through the water and it didn't touch you. Yah's telling you, you're going to walk through the fire. And it's not going to touch you. Okay, here it is. I know I'm a little bit over, but I think it's important for us to understand. Chapter number 66 will confirm what Yahweh has said through the prophet of salvation. It says this. Ki hine, Yahweh is coming with what? Baesh. He's coming with fire. Right there. Verse 15. With chariots like a whirlwind. That whirlwind right there is a hurricane. Okay. To vent anger in fury and rebuke in what? Flaming fire. Okay. With what? With fire. With what? With the Kibayesha Yahweh Nishpat. He's going to judge. It says content, but That word right there, nishpat, means to judge. It's from the word shafat, which look on your right hand side. Yah's coming to judge, to vindicate, and to punish. With what? With fire. So when he talked to us out of the fire and he gave us these words, the Berit, he made a covenant with us, not only for that day, but for us to understand that if you remember this covenant, you're going to guard your soul. Because the day that he comes to contend with the world, okay, if you know what those 10 words are and you're afraid of him, that fire that you see or you're going to see, you're not going to be afraid because he told you don't be afraid because I'm with you, right? You only know that if you know the covenant. Because the first word of the covenant is I'm Anoki Yahweh Eloheka. Then you'll know there's no other God. You'll know it's him. And you'll testify and to be a witness. You'll be the living witness. He said, when I walk, or when you walk after I'm done, when you walk, you're going to walk on the ashes of the people. Then you're going to know. So Yah's coming in a rebuke of fire, with a fire to judge with the sword against all flesh, and many shall be slain. He's not playing with us. Okay? Fire. All right? Get it? You understand? So when you listen to the words, listen to me carefully. When you look at every image or every prophecy, Yah is always somewhere in the fire. There's the fiery, serpents that are around him, the fiery seraphim, the fiery ones. They're guarding the throne of the Most High. When they had a vision, they saw someone sitting upon a throne with fire. It looked like fire. I saw horses that were fire. Riding chariots of fire. I saw fire. Horses of fire? Chariots of fire? Who do you think you're dealing with? You understand? So he tells us in chapter number 3, and sometimes in chapter number 4, depending on what it is, of the book of Malachi, it says, but who can endure the day of his coming? Huh? Let me see. It's not that one. Purify the sun. Where's the one we did? I was talking about that. To banish the lewd. So okay. Oh, here it is. Oh, perfect. In this vein, have chosen those who revere. That means fear. Remember, Yah told us to fear him. This is the reason why he came to give us his word, to revere him. You remember we read earlier today, he said that the reason why he told us to be gathered is so we can see that great fire, so you and I can revere him. So in his vein, everyone who fears Yahweh, right here, Yireh, who fears him, okay? That's what here, Yireh, right here. Whoever it is that reveres and fears Yahweh, from the word Yireh, okay? The ones who are fearing Yahweh, he says, in the vein of those who have fear, okay, of Elohim, have been talking to each other, right? Elohim, Yahweh, has heard it and he noted it, right? So he noted it in a scroll of remembrance. That's what he has. He's noted it. So if you're talking about Yahweh and you fear him, and so what are you talking about? You're talking about, if you're talking about the fear of Yahweh and you have fear towards Yahweh, that means you understand the covenant. If you don't understand the covenant, you don't fear Yah. Okay? Now, the sad part is that the individuals who do fear him, it says Yahweh is listening to them. Yahweh's heard that and he noted it. He wrote it down in a scroll called remembrance. It's called Zikaron de la Fanai. It's a sefer right here. The book is a sefer. It's a scroll. He wrote it down in a book, a sefer of Zikaron, a book of remembrance. So sefer, Zikaron is a book of remembrance. So Yah, if you fear Yah, Yah writes down your name as a memorial, as a reminder. How can I fear Yah? Learn the 10 words and observe them and fear Yahweh. For those who are fearing Yahweh, you fear him, larira. Okay, you fear him. You're afraid of him because you've read that. Okay, and you said you feared Yahweh, and La hokoshev shemo. That means that you were always thinking about his name. Koshev or koshav right there, it means to think and plan and esteem and calculate. It means to always imagine and think about. You're always thinking about Yahweh's name. You're thinking about what his name represents. You're thinking about him. What name? Yohewah. Okay. So if you're thinking about him, you fear him and you remember who he is, he said he's going to write your name down. Okay. And he says, on that day that I'm preparing, because there's a day that Yah's preparing, said Elohim of hosts, they shall be my treasured possession. I will be tender toward them as a man. So I'm going to show them they're going to be a segula, like he told you in your Torah portion. They're going to be a possession, a property to me. They're going to be a very peculiar treasure to me. That's what he told you in your Torah portion, chapter number 6, and 7, that 7 and 6, that you're a treasure to me. He says, and that I am the one that will spare you. I'm going to spare you. Anybody who is tender towards me. I'm going to spare you like a man who's tender toward his son and who ministers to him, who serves his father. And you shall come to see the difference between the righteous and the wicked, between the one who serves Elohim and the one who doesn't. So that day, look, the day that I'm preparing, on that day, I'm preparing. What day are you preparing? He says, for lo, that day is at hand. It's burning like an oven. That day is burning like an oven. Yes, all the arrogant and all the evildoers shall be straw, and the day is coming, said Yahweh Zavaoth, shall burn them as ashes and leave them neither stock nor bows. So Yah's coming with fire. Okay? But for you who fear, for Zoraka Lakim Yireh, the ones who fear my name, here it is, Yireh, right here. You Yireh, you fear me. You fear my name. You're in awe of me. Okay? My Shemi, which is my name. Okay? You fear my name, my reputation, my glory. You think about what I did. You remember Anochi Yahweh Leheka, meaning I am Yahweh, Hotzitika. I'm the one who brought you out from the land of Mizraim. You're meditating upon that. And you're remembering that. He says, the son of victory, the son of righteousness shall rise and bring healing. So the day of burning has to do with the sun. The Yah is going to bring the heat and the fire of the sun to judge the world. And you shall go forth and stamp forth like a stall-fed calves as you trample on the wicked to pulp, for they shall be the dust beneath your feet on the day that I'm preparing. Got it? So that day is coming. That day has been prepared. And if you fear him, then you'll know the covenant. You won't be dancing around and playing like, hey, I'm pretending to keep the commandments. You'll say, I know the covenant. I know Exodus chapter number 20 by heart. I recite it. I know it. I know when he said, I know what this word means. I studied it. I don't care about anything else. I want to know what that covenant is, because that was I was commanded to remember. That's what I was commanded to do while I'm in my exile. Because he said, I'm going to return to the voice of Yahweh. You're not returning to some prophecy from some other prophet saying, hey, you guys are going to be this, you guys are going to be that. No, you're going to return to the fact that I'm the one who scattered you. You're going to return and listen to the voice that was spoken to you, to remind you that we're in a relationship and a covenant that I made with you. And then guess what he says? Be mindful of the Torah. So he tells you to remember. Right here is the Tikru, or Zikru, Zikru. Remember, recall to mind. Just like he says he remembered you when you fear him. He told you, and remember the Shabbat. Remember the Torah. Remember the Torah of Moshe. Torah right here, the instructions. What instructions? To don't forget the covenant. Because everything else it's what is it? You can't perform it, so you get, hey, lackadaisic, hey, because I can't perform it, so guess what? I don't have to do it. I don't have to worry about it. Like Azania said, that these people are telling people, well, you don't even supposed to remember nothing. You just can't do nothing. No, you're supposed to remember. You got to show Yah that you fear him by remembering the covenant. You don't remember the covenant. If you can't tell me what the third word is and recite it by heart, then you don't know the covenant. You can't cite when he says don't covet. You don't understand what that means. You don't know the words. If you don't know that Lashav is to don't count my name as emptiness, and you don't really understand, but yeah, besides, well, hey, it's just don't take his name in vain. No, he's not telling you that. He's telling you you need to understand what that really means. That means that there is no other God. That means with everything I said to you, you don't discount what I'm saying. When he says, I'm the one who brought you out of Mitzrayim, I'm the one, then there is no one else. You testify and you witness to that. So we're testifying and witnessing in things that we shouldn't be trying to witness to because we can't give an effective witness. So when people ask you, well, you can't keep the law, then you say, yes, I can. I do keep the law. Then they show you that, no, you can't. Can you do this? And you be like, well, I can't. But then you get in a big discussion about that. When people approach me and they ask me, well, you're supposed to keep the law. You keep the law. I'm like, no, I remember it. They cannot fight that. They were like, wait a minute. So you're not one of those Hebrew Israelites that said that you could keep it? No, because keeping means guarding, and I can't do it because he's the way he said it. But what I can do is what he told me to do. Well, what did he tell you to do? He told me to remember it. He told me don't forget the covenant. So can I remember that he's the one who brought the children of Israel out of Egypt? Yes. Can you do that? Yes, you can. Can you remember that? Yep. Can you remember that he's the only one you should have any other God before you? Yeah. Can you do that? Yep. Can you remember never to take his name in vain and count it as Lashav, as nothing and emptiness? Yeah, I can do that. Yep. Can you remember the Sabbath day? Yep, I can remember that. Can you remember to honor your father and your mother? Yep, I can remember that. Can you remember that, hey, you don't supposed to lie, kill, steal, or none of that? Can you remember that? Can you remember that you don't supposed to covet? Can you remember that? Can you remember you don't supposed to be lying to nobody? Can you remember that? Yeah, I can remember that. That's the 10 words. Then there's no question. Nobody can question anything you're saying. But if you and I are moving away from what he said and we're trying to put extra on it, like we're holy and we're righteous because we're this, because we're the people, no, it's shameful for what we have done. We would change the narrative and start telling people that we should be ashamed. But I don't owe even an explanation to them as long as I know it. Okay. So he says to be mindful. That means mindfulness means to remember. You need to remember the Torah of my servant Moshe, who I charged at Korev, which is Mount Sinai, with laws and rules for Israel. So why does he want you to remember the Torah? Why does he want you to remember the covenant? Because that is going to be the very thing that's going to save you from the judgment of Yah. That's going to save you from that day. You understand? Then he says, oh, I will send Elijah the prophet to you before the coming and awesome fearful day of Yahweh. Well, why would he send Elijah? You know why? Because Elijah is the one who called down fire from heaven to prove that Yahweh was Elohim. Remember? Because everyone was serving Baal, the other God, the Lord. They made a covenant with Baal and they were calling on him. And he said, no, Eliyahu means my Elohim is Yah. That's what Elijah means. Eli means my El is Yah, not Jah, but Yah. Okay. Yah is my Elohim, proving that Yah is the only Elohim. So the reason why he's going to send him before the great and terrible day is to say, look, Israel, there's only one Elohim. He's reminding them. You understand? Yes, Emiya.
Just a quick question. I'm just kind of curious as to how he will send Elijah, because from reading the Torah, I don't recall him having any offspring or if he was ever married. And most importantly, I'm not sure where he's from with regards to the tribe. So it'd be interesting to know how the Creator, is going to pan that one out.
I got you. Yeah, I got the answer for you. It was a statement that you made earlier. You said, and I said, spot on. It's the soul. It doesn't have to be a descendant. It could be the soul. Yah can put that in anybody. He could take his soul and put it in whatever body he wants. Just like he has the David soul. David said, before I was even born, you already had all my days written out, and He can do whatever he wants to do with us. David wanted his soul to always live in Yahweh's house. It's the soul. Y'all can choose whoever sent it, whoever he wants.
So it's
So
not through offsprings then. It can be he can insert the soul into whatever body host that he chooses.
it'd be through the biological genetic material of someone from Israel, more than likely from his family, right? Because look, I'm from a family, you're from a family. Moses was a family, he went and gathered to his people. Just like Aaron was gathered to his people, we're all gathered back to our people. Okay. So there's your people that you belong to. Like if you belong to a tribe, that's the tribe you belong to, and that's the tribe you're always going to be in. You're never going to get out of it. You know, you can marry into another tribe, but that's your soul. Your soul is going to go back to your family. That's what it's going to go back to, according to what is written. Okay. So the point here is the reason why Elijah is mentioned is because he's the one in First Kings chapter number 18 that calls down fire from heaven to prove that Yahweh is Elohim. Go read that chapter. And that's the reason why he's using Elijah here. He said he will reconcile parents with their children and with their children's parents, so that when I come, I will not strike the whole land with the utter destruction. Here, they're not telling you that he says that I will totally annihilate the whole entire planet. It's not just strike the land. I'm going to destroy the whole entire planet. Okay. So the returning of the parents with the children and the children with their parents is to bring everybody back into the understanding that they need. So we won't be contending no more with my daughters or your sons or anybody with their kids. Everyone's going to come back. They're going to understand what this means. You understand? So Yah's using fire as his judgment. That's what it is. He's using that day of judgment with fire because that's how Yah proves who he is. That's why he revealed himself in fire with a voice. You see? And that's why he uses the sun, because the sun is going to be used as the source of the fire, because the sun is nothing but fire. That's all it is. It's a big ball of fire. You get it? Do you not know right now in Italy they're burning up because they just the sun, there's heat that they just can't escape. Fires all over the planet right now. Yah uses it as a judgment. Okay? So that's your class today. All right. Now let me show you where to go for your teaching for next week. So you'll know where to read and study. Let me see. I had to use the it was a lot of information, but I'm pretty sure that you get the point. Okay. Um, I use these different tools to give us the information that we need. Okay. I don't read all their stuff. I just go to their and I figure out, well, what's the portion we need to read? I know it's going to be in chapter number 7, probably in verse number 20 something. It's called yeah, cave, I think. Let me see. Let me not guess, but let me see. Here, this is where I find it. Portions, parshas. Okay, complete partial list. Over to the book of Davarim. Right here, we just did what Ed Kanan is called a cave right here. Yep. So we're going to go to a cave. It's going to be chapters number 7, verse number 12, all the way to chapter number 11, verse 25. Okay, Deuteronomy. And it is going to be, let me show it to you. It's going to be, let me do the complete right here. Okay. So it's going to be chapter number 7, verse number 12, all the way to chapter number 11, verse 25. Good reading, good stuff. And then in your Haftarah, you're going to read Isaiah chapter number 49, verse number 14 to chapter number 51, verse number 3. 49 is a great chapter. It's talking about Israel being Yah's servant and what his intentions are. Okay. So that's going to be a great Haftarah to read as well. Okay. You also, too, you want to go and read Psalms, as you're on 39, 40 to 59. So read Psalms 40 all the way to chapter number 59. Psalms 40 to chapter number 59. It's only 19. Only give you 19 to meditate upon. It's a good number to meditate upon. Okay. So that's your study for this coming week. Okay. Um, we need to start reading the Torah in its entirety. I might do, Google Slides when appropriate, but because of the words and the phrases that Yah is using in order to give you the proper understanding where you can literally see it, and you're not like, well, I got kind of lost in what he was saying, like because the slides sometimes can give you information, give pieces of stuff, but I'm not interested in that. I really want to give you more context so you can fully understand what was being asked of us. Okay. Just like it was of them, still us. We're still the children of Israel. Okay. So we're supposed to follow the Torah in its entirety. And all because we don't understand it doesn't mean that we can't understand it or we don't supposed to learn it. We have to learn it, and we have to learn it from a Hebraic understanding. Okay. The tool that I use today is called Sepharia.org. Okay. You can see it at the top of my screen right quick. Sefaria.org. When you go to Sepharia.org, you're going to press on this button, which is called at the header, it's called text right here. Okay. You can do the topics if you want, but I just go to the text. When I go to the text, all I do is just use the text to go where I want to go. So you see, browse the library. You got the Tanakh, you got the Mishnah, the Midrash, Talmud, Halakha, liturgy, Jewish thought, Kabbalah, all that kind of stuff. I do not dwell in any of this other stuff. Okay. Only thing I'm concerned with is the Tanakh. The Tanakh is going to be considered the prophets or the Torah, the prophets, and the writings. Okay. That's what the Tanakh means. It makes up the Hebrew Bible. Okay. And it says it's Judaism's foundational text. But the Hebrew Bible is not Judaism. Okay. So they're using the Tanakh as their foundation, just like the New Testament uses part of it as their foundation. Everyone's using it as their foundation. Even the Muslims, they use it as their foundation. And then they build upon it. So all the other books that you see, like the Mishnah and the Midrash, that means it's from he who seeks. This is the second law and all this kind of stuff, and Talmud and all that is saying we're going to use this as our foundation, and then we're going to build upon it. And what we're going to do is we're going to add the Mishnah, and we're going to add the Midrash. We're going to add more understanding in Talmud, which is complete nonsense, and it goes against the Torah. The Karaite Jews don't do this. All they follow is the Tanakh. So when you get here, okay, I'm telling you, only go to the Tanakh. Only go here. And when you get to the Tanakh, it's going to tell you the Torah, okay, the Torah, which is the 5 books of Moshe: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Okay, they all give you those English names. When you click on them, you can find out what those names mean. Okay, and then they give you the prophets, which is Joshua, Judges, First Samuel, Second Samuel, First Kings, Second Kings, Isaiah. It gives you all the prophets going all the way down. Okay, then the writings, the Psalms and Proverbs, and Job, Song of Psalms, Lamentations, Ruth, Ecclesiastes, Esther, Daniel, Nehemiah, Chronicles, First and Second. Okay, and that's it. That's all you want to read. Okay. You want to dive in and read some other stuff, about the Aramaic Targum and all this kind of stuff? You can if you want. It's a waste of time. What you want to do is you want to focus on the Torah. That's what you want to focus on because that's the primary source. That's what we're not supposed to add or subtract from. So I don't read the prophets for the benefit of trying to supplement or change anything. Because if you remember, we just read in the book of Malachi, it says, remember the Torah of Moshe. Not the Torah of the prophets, the Torah of Moshe. Okay. And so you go here and you go to Deuteronomy, and you're going to find all the different, books. It says Moses' final speeches, recalling the events of the desert, reviewing old laws. He's introducing some new ones and calling for faithfulness to Elohim. You click right there, and then there's your chapters. So you can go to your chapters that we want to, and then there's your Torah portion. Do you see? So you got a kev, which is the next one, and you click on a kev if you want, and there you go. It'll tell you, it'll start you right there in a kev. That kev will be the first word right here, a kev. Okay. And you say, well, where is that at? Why did they name it a kev? Going back to what we learned earlier, usually you'll find it in the first line of the Hebrew. And so here it says, if you obey these rules and observe them carefully, Yahweh will maintain faithfully the covenant he made with your ancestors. So somewhere in this first, in verse number 12, is the word a cave. But you don't see it in English, right? So where would it be? Well, in Hebrew, it'd be this word. Okay, so what I want to teach you right quick before you leave is when you go to this website and you go to your Torah portion, you go to, Deuteronomy chapter number 7, verse number 12, any word that you want to find out what it means, like for example, this first word right here called Haya, highlight it. And what happens is on the right hand side, resources are going to pop up, which is going to be, about this text, table of contents, how to search the text translations. And then they give you all this other commentary. You don't want that because Yah says don't do no commentary. Okay. So all I got to do is highlight again, highlight the word, and then it'll give you the meaning right next to it. So when you see this word Haya, you go right here and you says, oh, this word means to exist, or it was, or it came to be, or whatever it may be. And then to get out, you just click the X at the top. Okay, so the word akev is right here. Okay, and that word akev right here means as a consequence. It means to gain a reward or be an end. So there's all these different things, or because, consequently, So the idea of your Torah portion has to do with the consequence because of something, because that's what because means. As a consequence, you can either have a gain or you can have a reward, or it can be the end of something, which is a consequence. So you have to look at these things and then you can read some more information about it and, just kind of finger through it. You don't have to understand all of it, just kind of read through it and get familiarized with it. But my point of showing you this is every time you see a word, when you highlight the whole word, you're only going to see part of it. So for example, I highlight the word tishma'un, and the only word that came up was shema. So only the 3-letter root is going to appear. So here's the sheen, the mem, and the ayin right here. Well, over here is the sheen, the mem, and the ayin. But where's this letter? It's missing. What about this un right here? Where's that at? It's not there. The reason why it's not there because that's not the root. So anytime you highlight on a word, it's only going to give you the root of the word. The root of the word is the foundation of the word. So the foundation of this word tishma'un is shema, and that means to listen, to hear, and obey. Okay, to perceive. Okay, so you said, well, I don't know how to say these words because I'm not familiar with the Hebrew language. So what can you do? Right? Well, number one, you could try to, it's a game that you can play with yourself. You could go highlight a word and try to find, um, the word. Like, for example, tishmeun, because I know it means to obey or listen, then it would be right here. Okay. When I talk about rules, then I know, oh, that's mishpatim. That's right here. Okay. And if I talked about doing something, and talk about maintaining faithfully, then I know that means to do them right here. And if it talks about to guard, then I find it's right here. Okay. So take out the time, if you like, and go to this website and read it and then play games. Now, here's another thing you can do with this tool. So say, for example, you don't know how to read the Hebrew, right? Uh, what I want you to do is when you click on the word, look to the right and grab the concept of what that word may mean. Okay. So instead of you saying the word, right, what you can do is say, well, I don't know how to say it, but I know what it looks like. And then write these letters out for yourself. So when you're studying, just don't read stuff, take the words and just kind of write it out yourself and be like, okay, I made that and let me make this for myself. and then write that out and then go, okay, what that was is. And then what you do is don't worry about how to say it yet, just understand what it means. And then write down the definition. So pick out probably just a few words, that you want to know what it looks like, not how to say it yet. Pick out what it looks like, and then determine if you want to focus on that word, and then write out the definition on like a index card. And then at the end of the day or the end of the week, you can go back and look at how many words that you wrote and be able to, uh, identify what it looks like. Because in Hebrew, it's not just about what you say, it's about what you can identify with your eyes. Okay. So when you see these three letters, that means to hear, to listen, and obey. And then if you have this, you can be like Akika. In our next class, you can be like, hey, I see a word that I recognize. And can you click on it right quick and you tell me which line it is? And like, this is the first line, this is the second line, this is the third line. And you tell me what it is, and I'll point to it. I was like, is it this one? You say, yeah. And I'll click on it, and then you'll say, okay, well, I know that means that, but how do you say it? And then I can show you how to say it. And then you will remember it. Okay. Another thing that I want you to do too is, because you're unfamiliar with the language, you want to find out what each one of these letters mean. What you can do is you can highlight one letter at a time. Like I just highlight that one letter, and guess what? It tells me what the letter is. It's called a Vav. And it says it's the sixth letter of the Hebrew alphabet. That's all I want to know. Oh, it's the sixth letter. Okay. And it means, and that's how you say it, Vav. And this is what it looks like. Okay. And then that you start growing. So you're piecing, you're just doing little piecemeal stuff. You're not trying to figure it all at one time. Then you go to the next letter. Oh, that letter right there is a hey. Okay, so let me see. So I want to figure out what this letter is. And you go there and you look at the right-hand side, increase it. Oh, it's the letter hey. It's the fifth letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Huh. Just read up a little bit on it. Like, okay. You don't have to understand all of it because you're not. It's a lot of information. But at least you know what it looks like. Okay. And then you go to the next letter. Oh, which letter is that? Oh, it's a yod. Oh, it tells you it's the 10th letter in the Hebrew alphabet. And then you just go right there. Oh, that's how you say it. It's a yod. Okay. And then once you look at that, you may forget it. You may have to look at it again. You go, oh, that's an ayin. Oh, okay. This is a cough. Oh, okay. And you go down. Oh, what's this letter? Oh, that's a bet. Okay. So you start looking at it and familiarize yourself with it. So it's just a tool that you can use to help you identify what those letters are. Okay. And then when you piece them all together, because it's nothing but a puzzle, then you'll be able to eventually look at words like shamar and be like, oh, that means to guard, you know, right here, guard and to keep and give heed and to keep charge. Okay. So if you're telling me to guard the commandments, I'm keeping watch over them, but where am I supposed to keep watch over them at? While I'm on punishment? No, because if I'm on punishment, then why would you give me the words that I didn't guard to watch them while I'm in my punishment? Because right now I'm in prison. I'm locked up and I'm being mistreated by another. I'm serving another master. So the master that I'm serving right now is not teaching me these things. So why would the master that I did serve? Why would he give me words to keep while I'm under someone else's authority? How am I supposed to guard it if I'm not under the authority of my master? Oh, because then I have to recognize that I forsook my master. And this is why my master turned me over to someone else so I can serve their gods. Then you begin to accept your exile, you begin to accept your punishment, and then you'll stop making excuses. And then you're going to have a real relationship with the Creator. Then you're going to start crying out and realize that you and I are undeserving of Yah. You're not going to play any more spiritual games with Him. Me reading the Hebrew language and all that, I'm not doing that because I'm just trying to impress Him. I'm trying to tell you something. Without me understanding the language, I would never understand the situation that we're in as a people. I would be completely religious. I'm not religious, not anymore, because I understand something. Yah is not going to tell me how I failed and say, you can make up for your failures in a place that I told you that I'm sending you there to to worship their gods. Yah's whole purpose of sending us in exile is not to keep the commandments. It's not. When Yah told the children of Israel, go up and go take that land, they didn't. Then when they realized the mistake that they made, they said, okay, we'll go now, we'll go and fight now. And what did he say? No, don't go, because I'm not going to be with you. Guess what they did? They went anyway. They went against the command of the Most High. So that's what we're doing. If he told you that you're in exile and you're on punishment, and I'm sending you to serve their gods, all you have to do is say, yeah, I'm sent here. I'm on punishment. Yah drove me here, and I'm worshiping their gods. I hate worshiping their gods. I want to go and serve my Elohim. What's the first step? Recognize that I'm the one that sent you. Okay, God. Step one, I got that done. What am I supposed to do now? You're supposed to return to what I said. That means y'all return to all the Mishpatim to Kukim? No, you weren't listening. What he said is return to listen to the voice of Yah. Well, what's the voice of Yah? What I told you, what you heard me say, what I'm holding you responsible for, which are the 10 words. That's what I'm holding you to. And that's what's going to save us. You're not going to be saved because you thought you're going to give somebody some tithes and offerings, or you think because you know, you celebrated the Pesach in the place that you're at, that he's going to, all is good with Yah. The relationship has been disturbed. We don't have the same relationship we had with him when we were in the wilderness. We don't have the same relationship when we got into that land. Yah is angry and he's upset and he's disappointed and he's hurt. And he's telling us that you hurt me. You want to see this in Ezekiel? You hurt me. You abandoned me, Jeremiah. You abandoned me. You understand? And you forsook me. And now we're going to say, well, no, we didn't. We're keeping your laws, your statutes, and your commandments. You're playing a game. You haven't accepted the fact that you did this. I wasn't there. Denial. Yah said you were there. He said, I'm going to send you out to the nations. And when you get there, you're going to remember me. Well, he's not talking to me. Yes, he was. You're just not listening. Period. So the relationship has been disturbed. So it's not the same relationship. He said, when I send you out, and when I took pleasure to increase your ancestors and do good to them, I'm going to take pleasure in destroying you. Well, you don't want to read that, do you? Because you found out you're a Hebrew Israelite, so you don't want to read that. Because if you read that, that means that some kind of way that Yah's not angry. Yah's angry and he's disappointed in our behavior. Because he exalted us and gave us his Torah, and we abandoned him. Our leadership abandoned him. Our kings abandoned him. Our prophets abandoned him. Our fathers abandoned him. Our mothers abandoned him. And as a result of that, the children, they forgot Yah too. How long are you and I supposed to be reminded of this? Until he decides to turn back and show his face towards us and shine upon us. Until he decides, when his time comes, the day that he's prepared. So what we're supposed to be doing is getting ready and prepared for that day. But if you don't know that Aseret HaDavarim, you haven't internalized it and you don't get it, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem. So learn the 10 words. Learn them, study them, get them down, know them by heart. Again, I'm saying it over and over and over again. And here's the cold part. Okay. No, I went over, but we have to. No apology. I have to do this. Okay. Let me show you something. Okay. Bev, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just interested to look at the word Tanakh because it's there in the list and it's not Torah as such. So I'm just looking at the root of the word Tanakh. How does that bear out?
Oh, it bears out like this. I'm glad you asked that question. Thank you so much for it. Okay. So when we talk about the Tanakh, it consists of, it's an acronym. It's a T, it's an N, and it's a K. Okay. The T stands for Torah. That's a Hebrew word. The N represents a word called Nevi'im. Okay. And Nevi'im in Hebrew, the Nevi'im is the prophets. Okay. That's the name for that book, or that in particular portion. It's called a Nevi'im. The K represents a Hebrew word called Ketuvim. Okay. So the Ketu, oh, I guess the pen is not working. The Ket to Vim. The Ketuvim are the writings. That's how you say writings in Hebrew. Ketuvim. Okay. So we got the Tanakh. We got the Torah. We got the Navaim. And we got the Ketuvim. The Torah is the instructions. The Navaim are the prophets. And the Ketuvim are the writings. They just put the A sound in here as vowels so you can pronounce the word called Tanakh. Okay. So it's the Torah, the prophets, and the writings. Okay. So when you go down and you look at the Tanakh, right? So they're telling you right now that the Tanakh is the Torah, T, N is the prophets, and the Ka right here is the Ketuvim with the writings. They're just giving you abbreviations like what you got right here, prophets. That's really the Navaim. So when you look at that, let me help us and verify what I'm saying. So I'm going to put a word, I'm going to Google, and I'm going to put Navaim in there, and it's going to tell you what it means in Hebrew. Okay, so Navaim. So Navaim means the prophets. There you go. There's the verification. Navaim, meaning prophets, is the second main division of the Tanakh. Okay, right? Sitting between the Torah, which is the T, the Navaim, because it starts with a letter N, is the N, and then the K is the Ketuvim right here. So it sits right between them. So the prophets is between the Torah and the Ketuvim. Okay? It's a division. Okay? And so then it shows you what those books are. Okay? It goes into some other things. So Nevi'im are prophets. Ketuvim is writings. So let's look that up. Ketuvim. The Ketuvim is the third and final section of the Hebrew Bible after the Torah and the Nevi'im. Okay? Is titled the writings. Okay? Or hagiography, which is the Ketuvim, and tells you what books those are. Okay? So those are the divisions of what you would call the Tanakh. So the Torah is one division of it. They put them all together because it's a body of work that belongs to the Hebrew people. Okay? So the problem with this is because when people say, well, I read the Tanakh, I follow the Tanakh, they're not really thinking about what the Most High said about the Torah. The Most High said in the Torah, you don't supposed to add any other books. So the Most High has never designed, listen to me carefully, the Most High has never designed it where the Torah and the prophets and the Navaim is supposed to, or the prophets are supposed to be attached to the Torah, or the writings are supposed to be attached. That's the problem. The reason why it's been put together like this is because they're creating a religion. And the religion is Judaism. Okay? Right? So we don't supposed to do that. We're supposed to keep the Torah separate, stand alone by itself. There's nothing that's supposed to be attached to it because the prophets do not have any authority over the Torah. The writings do not supersede the Torah. The only reason why they put them together is because it's from the same people. It's Hebrew, right? But the authority for us to follow is only going to be in the Torah. Only. When I read the prophets, or I'm talking about the prophets, I'm talking about what the Most High said was going to happen. And that's fine because he said, in the Torah, he tells you, I'm going to give you prophets. And you should listen to them, right? But they're not the authority. You understand? And anything that the prophets are supposed to do is return, if they are talking, they're supposed to return a person back to the Torah. Like when you read in Jeremiah, he says, I've been talking to you for years to turn you back to the Torah. When you talk about the Ketuvim, they say in the book of Ezra, the Torah of Moshe. It's not listen to Nehemiah as an authority. No, you understand? So the Torah is the primary source of authority for us. Okay. All the other stuff, you can set that to the side. You can. You want to find out, yes, I'm going to bring you back? That's great. He's not instructing you. He's telling you what I'm going to do. That's all he's saying. Okay. What else did I want to tell you before I let you go? Oh, I was going to share with you um, something that I think would be very helpful to all of us to kind of let you know that you're not going to come to the Most High on your terms. Okay. So let's be clear. Psalms 25 is the backbreaker. Okay. I want you to listen carefully. All right. Each one of these Psalms begins with one of the Hebrew letters. Okay. And in the Hebrew letter, it usually starts with the first word of the actual line. And then, of course, you got the second. But anyway, let's just read it. It says, "Oh, eternal one, I set my hope on you." That means not, see, I set my hope on you. Well, it doesn't say that. It says, Aleka Yahweh Nafshi, the Ese. Okay. So what it's saying is, Yahweh, I lift up my soul. It says, I set my hope on you. No, my soul, Nafshi, Ese, I lift up. I'm lifting up my soul to you. Okay. So to you, Yahweh, my soul, I lift up. That's what he's saying. So when it says I set my hope on you, that means I'm lifting my soul up to you. So remember today we were talking about, well, what are we supposed to be guarding? You're supposed to be guarding your soul. Okay. So here, let me click on it right quick so you can see it. So nafshi right here means soul. Look to your right. Your nefesh is your soul. The little dot, the yod on the end says nafshi. That means my soul. Okay. So my soul, my creature, my person, my desires, my appetite, my emotions, my inner being, I'm lifting up to you. How can you do this? Okay. My Elohim, in you I trust. Elohai bekad bekakti. I do trust you. Not will I be ashamed, right? I'm not going to be disappointed. You're not going to let my enemies exalt over me. Let no one who looks to you be disappointed. So this is the reason why he's saying this, because he's lifted up his soul. Okay. So anyone who looks to Yah is not going to be disappointed. Okay. But he says, let the faithless be disappointed and empty handed. He says, let me know your paths. And so it's not just let me know, it's actually in Hebrew is hodiani. Okay. That hodiani is to cause me to know. Okay. Cause me, not just, let me know, cause me to know not only your paths, but your ways. Okay. Your ways, Yahweh, I want you to cause me to know them. And I need you to lamadani, which means that I need you to teach me your ways. Okay. It says, let me know, but it didn't tell you lamadani. Lamadani, see, this is what I don't like about English. So if I click on lamadani, one word is hodiani, the other one is lamadani. If we look on lamadani right here, lamadani means to teach. Here you go. Lamed, right here. So it's asking Yah to cause me to learn by teaching me. So the only way that you can learn, listen to what I'm trying to tell you. The only way that you can learn this is by Yah teaching you. Listen carefully. You're not going to learn this, and it's not going to be caused to show to you. Hodiani is to Yada. Here it is, right here. To know, Yada, right here. Cause me to learn. How would I know? How would I perceive or understand this? Yahweh's ways, unless Yahweh teaches. Yah has to teach us his ways. Okay. His ways are emet, right here, the emet taka. They are to be truthful. Okay. Here it is, by emet taka. It is to be firm. Their truthfulness, their surety, they're reliable. So Yah's ways are this way. And he says, Valamadani, teach me. I want you to teach me. I need you to teach me, Yahweh. Why? Because you are my Elohim. You are my salvation. So when it talks about salvation, David understood that if Yah doesn't teach you his ways, which all of his ways are truth, And if you're not learning from Yah, then you're not going to have any salvation. Do you understand that? Yisha or Yisha means to be deliverance and safety. The first time salvation is ever mentioned is when he delivered the children of Israel from their enemies when they were walking through the Red Sea. So salvation is not a concept or an abstract idea that goes without any physical evidence of something. Okay. So he's not telling you to believe in a person, it's literal salvation. Okay. He says, Otika de kiwati de kola hayam, meaning that I am waiting on you all day. I'm looking at you. Kiwi means, right? Kiwati. I'm going to look and wait for you all day. Why? Because you're my salvation. I want to look towards you. Otika, only to you. For this one right here, Zakor Rakameka. That means, again, remember. Zakor is to remember. Call to mind Yahweh your Rakameka. Your Rakam is your Rakam, which is your womb, your faithfulness, the belly, dealing with the womb of a woman that you can see on your right hand side, the womb. The womb right here. I need you to remember the womb. I need you to remember the wound. Why? Because if you remember the Rachameka, you'll remember my family, and you'll remember Abraham, you'll remember Sarah, you'll remember Isaac, you'll remember Rivka, you remember Rachel, you remember Leah, you remember Yaakov, you remember those women couldn't have children. You'll remember that they were killing all the firstborns of Israel, of the Hebrew children. Remember Yahweh, Rachamecha. Remember your kindness from Me'olam Hema. They are the ones who have always been around. Your faithfulness has always been around. That's what David is asking the Most High to remember. Okay? So for us, we need to be mindful of that, right? So here it is. I'm coming to the point where it's worth staying online. He says, be not mindful of my youthful sins and my transgressions, in keeping with your faithfulness. Consider what it is in my favor, as befits your goodness, meaning that Yah is, I want you to remember to me all your tuvika, meaning everything, all the goodness that you are, because you're good, Yahweh, not me. I haven't been good. I haven't been good even from my youth. Okay? Nure. From my youthful time, Na'ar, I haven't been good. From my early life, I haven't been good. I haven't done the right thing. I've always sinned. And I've always been in rebellion against you. And this is talking from the king of Israel. Okay? But he says, Yahweh's good. He says, Tov and Yashar Yahweh. Yah is good. Yah is upright. Yah is Yashar. He's upright. That's what he is. Okay? He's upright. Got to get all the letters in there properly. Got to get that resh in there. Yashar. He's straight. He's upright. He's correct. So David is acknowledging that Yah's only good. Now, his whole life has been a life of disaster and perversity. When you look at the majesty of Yah and you recognize this, you begin to have fear and awe of Yahweh. He said, Yahweh all Cain, Yoreh the Kite Imer Badarek. So meaning that you're the one who's going to direct. So Yoreh right here comes from the word Yorah, which Yorah means to fear. Here he's talking about Yoreh, which is to teach or to throw, coming from our word Torah. This is Yoreh, which this is the root for Torah. To point or to show or to shoot or to throw in a certain direction. It has to do with rain in the early season because the rain falls in a certain direction. Point out, show it to me. I need Yah to point out to me and show me. Number 3, Hiphio. Cause to show to me the way that I need to go, because the ways that you are, all your ways are truth, all your paths are right. I need you to teach me. I need you to direct me. I need you to point things out to me. Because since I've been a youth, I've been Pashuai. I've been in revolt from my youth. I'm all the ways of a man and a woman has been katuai. They have been kataim. They've been sinners. So Yah takes the sinner and he puts them on the correct path, the road, the derek. I put you on the right way. That's what derek means. I put you on the correct path. So you can recognize that your way has been wrong. So I'm going to guide you and direct you. He's asking Yah to give him direction in his life. And the direction he's asking from is Yoreh, to point me in the right direction, which is the Torah. The Torah is supposed to point us in the right way. And Yah doesn't mind this because He's looking for the person who understands that they have been a sinner and they have been in revolt against the Most High. Yah wants to guide us back to that path. Yah guides the lowly. Now, here's the kicker, okay? The only people that are ever going to go on this road, the only people that are ever going to be taught anything by Yahweh has to be a person that is humble. Anawim. They're humble, they're poor, they're afflicted, they're meek. So when you're in your exile and you're claiming that you're blessed, you're in your exile and you're claiming you're keeping all of his laws, you're in exile and setting up your own priesthood, you're in exile saying that you're doing everything he said, you're not humble. And you're not on the right path. The path to Yah is one of humility. We have to show Yah that we have been afflicted by you, because if we've been afflicted by you, you're the only one who can heal us. But if we're running around acting like we're healed and we don't need him, and we're taking and snatching things from his words and manipulating him and changing the understanding so he can fit our narrative to make us feel better while we're in our exile as a people, then we're not showing Yah that we're humble. And you're not showing him that you've been afflicted. And you're not showing that what he said was true. You're saying that what he said was a lie. Yah will guide the Anawim, the humble, by Mishpat. He judges. So it says, Yadareka the Awanim by Mishpat. So Yahweh judges the humble. It's not just he guides them. Here he says on the path, he guides them. It says that he guides them. No, he judges them. This word right here is mistranslated by Mishpat. Right here is to judge. Yah has judged us. That's why we're being afflicted. And by Yah Lamed. And here again, Lamad again is to teach you. Yah is only teaching those who have been afflicted and humbled enough. Those are the only people he's going to teach. He's not teaching the arrogant. He's not teaching a person with their chest stuck out. He's not teaching the people that got all the answers. He's not teaching those people. He's not. Irregardless to what our accomplishments are or how far you've got in life, you're not the one he's teaching. If you're not humble, you haven't accepted your affliction, you're not on the right path. The only one that Yah is going to show the way is sinners, the people who recognize that I've been afflicted because of my sins. Those are the ones that Yah is going to teach his path, his Dorako. Dorak is Derek, and it means the way, his journey in the manner in which Yah has decided. It's the course of life that Yah chose. Derek. Course of life, number 5, figuratively. You understand? So it's only those, and the O right here is talking about Yahweh, his way. The only way anyone's going to get that is they got to be humble. Why? Because all of the Rakot of Yahweh is Kesed. Because listen to what I'm about to tell you. All of Yahweh's ways, all of his paths are going to be Kesed. That means it's going to be loving kindness and steadfast love. So for the sinner, if you're humble, Yahweh is going to put you back on a path of kindness and steadfast love to get you right. Because you're humble. He wants to direct you back on a path that is right. He's only going to give this to somebody that is willing. Listen to me carefully. The people who are willing to lay notzorade his burrito. Burrito is not what you eat at a Mexican restaurant. The burrito here is talking about his covenant. Click on it for me, Akika, so you can tell me what a burrito is or burrito. It's right here. It's his covenant. It's his pledge. It's his alliance. The La Notzore is the individuals, those who are guarding Guarding and watching is not shamar. This one's different. Guarding the covenant. Those are the only people that Yah is going to give mercy to. The only ones that he's going to sow kesed, the kindness and loving kindness. The only one he's going to relieve or reveal truth to is the ones who understand the burrito, the ones who understand the adulto. Okay, so here, right here, the va'adotav, that is his gathering, the people who are part of the covenant, the decrees of Yah. Edotav comes from the word adut, and adut has to do with not only the congregation, but it also has to do with the testimony right here. Number one, testimony, witness. Always plural, always laws is divine testimonies. The congregation are the ones who receive the testimonies. You look at this word ad right here, it has to do with a witness, like I've been trying to tell all of us. When he talks about it, the ad or adolam, he's saying Edah right here is a testimony. You're a witness. He told us today that you're my witnesses. The only people that can be the witnesses is the people that are in the congregation. Period. And the congregation is the one that he said, gather to me all the people. Assemble them at the bottom of the mountain so they can hear the words that I said, so they can learn to fear me all the days of their life while they're on the planet Earth. Do you understand? So these paths of love and kindness and truth and mercy are only for those that are humble. And once you get on that path, and once you understand that you don't even deserve to be on that path, you're going to take that path seriously. You're going to guard that path. You're going to guard the commandments. The burrito is the 10 words that God spoke to the children of Israel. What he said to you and I. You understand? Why? We asked him, Lama anishimka Yahweh, for your purpose as befits and for the sake of your name, Yahweh, we're going to ask you to do something. That's a shalakta. We're going to ask you to forgive us. That's somebody that's humble. We're going to ask Yah for a pardon. Why? Because I have lavaoni. I have some transgressions and some things that I've done and said that I'm recognizing. I got some perversity, some depravity, some iniquity, some guilt and punishment that needs to be dealt with. They're the consequences of the things that I've done in the past. I'm only suffering for what I've done. You're not suffering because you're innocent. You're suffering because you're guilty. So how many times does Yahweh need to tell us that you're guilty? How many times did he have to tell us you're suffering from the consequences I give to each and every person according to their works and their conduct? Why do you think that you're the victim here? Me. Poor me, oh me, oh me. What about Yah? You think he's judging us unfairly as his people? Huh? It says, Lama an Shimka is only befitting of your name because of your name, for the sake of your name, Yahweh. We ask for you, Shalakta La'awoni. Get rid of the La'awoni. The Awoni right here is our perversity. Right here, iniquity, right here, guilt. It's your guilt. That's what you need to ask Yah to Shalakta. Ask Yah to Shalakta. Ask Yah to forgive and send away. And when Yah sends away our sins from us, you and I will be free from our oppressors. And you'll be back in your land. That's why he says, when I bring you back to them, I'm going to cleanse you. I'm going to forgive you when I bring you back. As long as you're in exile, you're not in a forgiven state right now because you're still being punished. David understood. He said, the Rav, that means many. Many is the only of me. Much, many, abounding is my transgressions. It is not just by not listening to Yah, it's the way that I live my life. Do you not know all the things that you've done from the time you were born into the day that you're alive today? how offensive and disgusting it has been to our Creator? Do you know the fact that you and I get up in the morning, we look at the sky and we don't give him thanks as an offense? When everything else in creation is giving him glory and praise and adoration, you and I are not. We're hopping around in our cars. We're going to our jobs. We're entertaining ourselves. We're going to go eat. We're going to parties. We're celebrating. We're being entertained. And we're not saying that Yah is our Elohim. And you and I don't want to ask for forgiveness? Mizeh Haish. Who is the person who's going to Yireh? Who's the person who's going to Yireh? Highlighted. Who's the person that's going to fear Yahweh? That's the question. Who is the person that's going to stand in awe of Yahweh? Who's going to go outside and look at the majesty of Yahweh? Who causes the sun to take its course in its circuit and go around the earth and rise on one side and drops on the other? Who feeds every single living creature, who lets the air and the breath come into our lungs, who feeds you and I daily, who wakes us up and puts us to bed and keeps us in safety, and you and I don't want to open our mouth to say thank you to the Most High? Oh, no. No, don't do that. Let's argue with our children. Let's argue with our spouses. Let's complain and talk about our situation. Let's talk about everybody else. Let's talk about what we go through. Let's talk about the honor that we're not getting. Let's talk about that. Is that what we should be talking about? Whoever fears Yahweh will be shown what path to choose, because Yahweh is the one who's going to show you. Yahweh is the one who's going to point you in the direction that you need to go because you fear him. If you notice, he didn't tell you that I'm asking you to love me. He didn't bring us to the mountain to fall in love with him. He brought us to the mountain to fear him. He didn't let us hear his words so we can love him. That's part of it, but it's not the reason. The reason is to have fear on us every single day. Like I read earlier in chapter number 5, verse number 29. Who is it of them who's going to give their heart and set their heart to fear me like this? Who's going to be afraid to know that they must keep my commandments? Who's going to be able to recognize that without me, there is no earth, there is no heavens, there is no sun, there's no moon, there's no star? When are they going to recognize that there's nobody else but Yahweh? When are we going to recognize that he's the one who sent us into exile? Huh? When are we going to recognize that there's a standard that needs to be met when you're talking about dealing with our Elohim? Are you and I are going to diminish him so we can feel good about our so-called walk with him? Oh, no, we're not. We're not going to do that. We're going to elevate him and we're going to debase ourselves. We're going to become humble. And we're going to put him before all things. They shall live a happy life and their children shall inherit the land. What? If you choose Yahweh, if you fear Yahweh, Yah will show you the path so you and your children can have an inheritance. You're going to Yeresh Yeretz. The Yeresh right here, everyone, is to inherit. That's what it is. You're going to possess. Because remember, we talked earlier today about the land that we're supposed to occupy. The Yah gave to us as an inheritance that he took from other people that he gave to us. He gave us houses that we didn't build. He gave us vineyards that we didn't plant. He gave us wells that we didn't dig. He filled the houses with good things. What else did he need to do for us? He loves us. Oh, you better hear what he said. He said, I love you. Oh, yeah, he said it. I love you. I honor you. You're my treasure. I chose you. But with that comes us to recognize what he's done for us and why he's expecting this standard from us. The counsel of Yahweh is only for those who fear Yahweh. The ones who are going to, it says, Sodi Yahweh de la Re'ev. Okay, so here it is, the Lira'av, to fear him and his commandment. Those are the only ones he's going to show that to. Lecholiam. The counsel of Yahweh is for those who show reverence or fear. It's only to them whom the covenant is made known. So when I told you this is a backbreaker, this is a checkmate, no one who doesn't have the counsel of Yah, that's not on the path, who's not humble, Yah is never going to show them anything. If you don't fear Yahweh, Yahweh is not going to show you nothing. The covenant, the burrito, if you do not keep the burrito, okay, he says he's not going to even let you know the burrito. The beginning of wisdom is to fear Yahweh. So if you don't fear Yahweh, you're not getting any, he's not going to let it be known to you. Lehodiam right here is to be known. Let me highlight it so you can know that I'm not lying to you. You are not going to know the covenant. You're not going to know what it means. So I'm telling you, yeah, go read and study the 10 words. Go do this, go do that. Yeah, but guess what? If you and I don't have fear toward Yahweh, you might as well read it and forget about it because it is not going to mean anything. Because if you don't fear him, he's not going to teach you nothing. You and I are not getting nothing from Yah until we fear him. Do you understand that? You and I are not going to get nothing from him until we fear him and until we reverence him like everything else on the face of this earth and it's not in this earth. Do you understand? When he told the heavens to give him praise and he told all of the Malachim and all of the armies of heaven and let the sun worship him and let them give him praise and let the moon give him praise and let the stars give him praise and let the heavens give him praise, and they're all giving praise. The sun and moon were called to testify against us. They are qualified witnesses that are against us. And the only reason why they qualify is not because they're so large or so bright or so majestic. It's simply because they can be trusted because he tells them what to do and they do it. As a qualified witness. So you and I cannot be Yahweh's witnesses. And we cannot be qualified as a witness. We'll be disqualified as a witness if you and I are not praising Yahweh and give him the credit and we don't show him any fear. You will not be able to give him any praise because he's not going to show you nothing. You're not going to know nothing without fearing Yahweh. So you can do all the study you want to. I can do all the teaching I want to. I can read all I want to. I can search books from here to the top of the damn house. It doesn't matter. If you do not fear him, you're not going to be shown anything. So, where does the fear come from? Again, it is going back to saying to Yah, I want to listen to what you said. Told us in our Torah portion, you're going to return and listen to the voice of Yahweh. Deuteronomy chapter number 4. You're going to return and listen to the voice of Yahweh. You're going to hear the very words that he said, and that's going to shake you to your core. And you're going to say, Yahweh, I want to know what you have to say. I'm going to humble myself. You understand? We need Yah to have mercy upon us. We need Yah to turn to us. Like Dawid says, turn to me and have mercy on me. For I'm alone and I'm afflicted. My distress increases. Deliver me from my straits. Look at my affliction and my suffering and forgive all my sins. How many numerous are my enemies? How unjustly they hate me. Protect me and save me, and let me not be disappointed, for I have sought you. I have sought refuge in you. May integrity and uprightness watch over me, for I look to you. Elohim, Yahweh, redeem Israel from all its distress. Going back to the Zara al-Tav, which is the distress that Israel is in, even to this very day. So what is it? Distress, trouble, that he says when it finds you in the lands of your enemies. Why? Yah likens it to being a wife that's a rival for her husband. She's a vexer. So every time he says something, she goes against him. She's working against what the master, which is the husband, has said. That's what we've been to the Most High, a rival. Not only another woman coming into the picture, we have been a rival to our master, our husband. We've been vexing him. Do you understand? That's trouble. That is your study for today. And I'm happy that the Most High has allowed us to look at Psalms 25, because Psalms 25, and you can write this in your notes, is connected to chapter number 4 of Deuteronomy. Because it tells you, if you do not fear Yah, Yah's not going to show you nothing. He's not going to show you anything. So we have a lot to learn. And the only way we can learn it is going to our Creator and telling him, I'm afflicted, and you did this to me because I did this to you. And I want to change that. So I'm here to listen. I'm here to learn. I've been a sinner. I've been a rival towards you. I've been a vexer. I've done all this. And this relationship ain't been the same because of me. It's because not because of you, because of me. And because of that, I submit to you today that I'm sorry. And I don't want to do it anymore. I want the relationship to change, and I'm willing to wait for you to be back intimate with me again and show me that you love me. I got to wait for you because it's not going to be on my terms. It's going to be on your terms. Do you understand that? So that's what we have to do as his people. I know it was a long class today. I know it was a long study, but guess what? I think it was worth every single moment. Couldn't have done it on a video presentation. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't. But this is where we are. This is what we need. This is what we need. You understand? So let's get it right. Hallelujah. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom.
Shabbat
Hallelujah.
shalom, Makika.
Hallelujah.
Shabbat shalom.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. All right. If he permits, we'll see you next week. Hallelujah.